Seminole High School, Time Warner Communications Sports presents the high school football game of the week. Tonight's game features an important District 4A7 matchup as the Pinellas Park Patriots get set to take on the Warhawks from Seminole. Hello again, everyone. Brian Ungst here, welcoming you to Seminole High School for Time Warner's coverage of the high school football game of the week. It's my pleasure this week to be joined by former Dixie Highlands High School coach Todd Wilson. And Todd, this is an important matchup, maybe a little bit deceiving. You know, Seminole 5-0, looked like a powerhouse. Pinellas Park with a win tonight could possibly win this district.
Yeah, the thing is, Pinellas Park's 0-1 and Seminole's 1-0, I believe, in the district. And right now, it's anybody's ball game still. You got Largo in the mix, but if Seminole comes out and gets or Pinellas Park, comes out and gets a win, now they're 1-1. They're right back in the thick of it. So, you know, you want to win all your games, but your district games are the ones that really count.
James Adams brings Pinellas Park in with a 1-3 record, and they had a tough game last week up at East Lake, losing at 33-6.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's going to be really key tonight, Brian, is that if you notice, Seminole rushed for 384 yards last week. Pinellas Park gave up 336 yards rushing, so there's got to be something break there. Pinellas Park's got to make something happen for Seminole to throw the ball downfield, take advantage of that. Pinellas Park's not short on athletes. Up front, they're going to have to block a little better than they have.
Well, one reason they have to block is they have the county's leading rusher in senior Billy Henderson. He's an exciting football player.
He's very good. I saw him in practice the other day. He reminds me a lot of the Hall kid over at Dixie Highlands. Not real big, but not a bad-sized kid, and really can go. Great athlete, great kid from what Jim Adams says.
Now, the leader on defense is junior middle linebacker Ricky Bedard.
Yeah, and he does a good job in the middle, making a lot of plays. He's about 6'1", 205 pounds, as you can see on the screen, and he does a good job. They're going to have to stack up against Seminole. He's going to have a big night, because if Seminole gets it running, it's going to be a long night for Pinellas Park.
Sam Roper brings Seminole in with a 5-0 record, their best start in years, and they're right now just clicking on all cylinders.
Oh, and they're very impressive. They do a decent job up front, but what they have is they have about 4 or 5 athletes that can take you to the house, and when you have that in high school football, you're in good shape. But more importantly than that, Seminole's played very good defense this whole year. They gave up 26 last week to a very good Gibbs team, but other than that, they'd only given up 12-9 to the previous 2 opponents. So Pinellas Park's got to find a way to get the ball, I really feel, to some people besides number 10 for that team. They got to get the ball out to number 80 and do some things with their wide receivers. I think the quarterback for Pinellas Park throws a pretty good ball.
Well, you take a look at Seminole. You talked about their athletes. Senior Danielle Williams does it all. He averages 25.5 yards a carry.
Well, first game film I saw on him was against Osceola, and he rushed. You can see him on the film there. First time, 3 times he touched the ball, he went to the house with it. So he's good. He's explosive. He reminds me of a couple kids I used to have. That they make you a good coach real quick when you got those kids.
Now, their leading tackler, he's a junior. He's a middle linebacker. He's also the starting quarterback. DeQuell Jackson also does it all.
Yeah, and I know he's ranked top 100 in some polls and so forth around the nation. He's a heck of an athlete. Pretty decent-sized kid. May end up being a defensive back in college, but does a really nice job running this football team.
All right, we'll see what happens. An important 4A7 district matchup coming your way next. Pinellas Park taking on Seminole right here on Time Warner's Game of the Week. Brian Ungst, Todd Wilson back with you at Seminole High School tonight, getting set for the kickoff between the Patriots of Pinellas Park and the Warhawks. crowd here on homecoming at Seminole High School. Todd and the Seminole Warhawks getting set to take the field, coming in at 5-0, 2-0 in District 4A7. Pinellas Park 1-3 and 1-1 in the district. As we talked about, as we see the Warhawks come running here out through their big banner held by the cheerleaders. It's a big game for Pinellas Park because they could still be in this.
You're right, it's huge, and I think I said in the opening by accident that Pinellas Park was 0-1. They're 1-1 in the district, them Seminoles 2-0, but if Pinellas Park wins tonight, they're right back in the thick of things.
Sam Roper on the right, the veteran head coach in his 16th season, one of the class acts in Pinellas County High School football, 62-95 record. James Addis in his 7th season, 30-27 as a head coach at Pinellas Park.
Well, and it's nice to see Coach Roper getting some wins. He's struggled a little bit over here, and to be real honest with you, Brian, he has not had the athletes that he has right now. And, you know, coaches can claim to be as smart as they want, but if you don't have the athletes, you have trouble winning. He's done a great job, has a real good staff with Coach Perlin calling his defense and getting some help from Coach Fabrizio offensively. So they do a nice job. And on the other hand, Coach Adams has had some very good teams. Good athletes at Pinellas Park, just don't quite have the line yet.
Got a young offensive line, 3 sophomores and 2 juniors starting, and they're a team that's scored some points, have been in some games, but haven't been able to finish it, haven't had the knockout punch, whereas Seminole has had the knockout punch late in the game. They've been a team of veterans, very confident in their system and their program, and they've gotten the job done. Getting set to kick off for Seminole, number 14, Mike Abramson, the deep man, our 21, Kevin Smith, and number 10, Billy Henderson for Pinellas Park, and we are underway.
Yeah, and you knew they weren't going to kick to Henderson. Ball actually comes over to number 80, Solomon Johnson.
And Johnson's going to try to take it to the wide side, running all the way across the field, will not get there, gets out to about the 24.
And that's tough right there. You got to kind of, you got a left return setup, but you kind of want to get right up the field on that. A lot of work that's going to come out tonight is how they can use other people besides Henderson.
The offensive unit, Fiegel, the quarterback, Jones and Henderson, the running backs, Davis, Johnson, and Smith are the receivers. Your offensive front, Zabinski, Diaz, Biddle, Hill, and Vest. A young, aggressive offensive front.
Yeah, very young, and right now the biggest thing is they've got to get more strength.
Fiegel, the sophomore quarterback, he's good size at 6'1", 205. Pretty good numbers so far, 382 yards passing, a couple of touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He'll send a man in motion, going to toss the ball this way to Sam Smith. Sam Smith trying to get to the outside, will not get there. Punched at the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Coming up from the secondary at number 3, DeCole Jackson, actually a linebacker, and Joey Fabrizio, 2 of the better football players on this team, the 2 linebackers making the hit.
Yeah, that's a nice job by Fabrizio there, because for a second I thought he had some running room.
The defensive unit, Fox, Deckmablaw, Kay, and Gully up front. Leverance, Jackson, Fabrizio, the linebackers, Wanagatanga, we'll get that right, Elliott, Layfield, and Williams in the secondary. Wanagatanga.
Yeah, one of the things Seminole has that they definitely haven't had in the past is they got a lot of quickness on. You can see that in the first play.
They send Henderson in motion on 2nd down and 9. Going to give the ball to him up the middle. A little bit of a counter action. He gets out to about the 30. Then he'll set up 3rd and 4 from there.
And Brian, the more sustained drives, score or not score, that Pinellas Park can mount, the closer they're going to be in this football game. They can't get into a shooting match with Seminole. They're not going to win that.
Well, just the opposite. We talked about Pinellas Park having trouble finishing drives, and having a young team that maybe gets down a little bit if they don't meet success. Seminole has been there at crunch time. They've been very successful. That's a sign of a veteran team that's confident and believes in the system, Coach.
Sure, and I think that comes with having some athletes, too, that are confident in themselves.
They know they can make plays. 3rd down and 4. They'll split the backs. Play action.
Got a kid wide open down the field.
Got somebody down there, can't get him the ball. Hit 32. Anwar Jones wide open, but Gary Fiegel just couldn't set his feet to turn and throw it, or he would have had about 20 yards and a 1st down out near midfield.
Yeah, if you watch him on the replay here, you got to make a little better fake, but then he's got to set. He's going to take a hit. He's got to know that, and he's got to set, and he's got to look. Your first read, Brian's always down to the farthest receiver, and then you work your way back, and that's exactly where Jones was for Pinellas Park. He was wide open. That could have been a big gainer for them.
When they talk about the progression starts by looking downfield, unless it's just a design 1st down play, and you've got the quick hitter. But absolutely. Back Back in punt formation is number 7, Cody Gelwick, sophomore.
Seminoles coming for the block.
They send nobody deep, one after. Great kick, end over end. How's it going to bounce? It bounces for Pinellas Park. Inside the 20-yard line, all the way down to the 19. That's a heck of a kick by Cody Gelwick. The Seminole had nobody back. Todd, they sent everybody, and they did not get there. So a good job by the young offensive front of Pinellas Park and the punt team anyway to get that one off.
Yeah, you know, Coach Roper and his staff must have seen something that makes them think they can block a punt. Even so, you got to question a little bit not leaving anybody back, because then you get an extra 20, 25 bounce roll or rolls on the bounce.
The offense for Seminole: Jackson, the quarterback, Gully, Lumpkin, and Hunter. The running backs, they run a wing T. Abramson and Gomish. The receivers: Manning, Farmer, Bordeaux, Souls, and Lorenzetti. Your offensive front. Split the backs behind the Quell Jackson. Give the ball to number 8. Requires Gully. Gully fumbles the ball. It looks like Seminole has recovered.
I think Pinellas Park got it. They're pointing their way.
Justin Lumpkin actually comes up with a football for Seminoles. He got in there just before the Pete Park player to retain possession and avert disaster early in the game.
That's right. I was wrong on that last week, too. See a little buck sweep here. Has the ball in the proper hand, just takes a good shot.
Helmet on the ball. Lumpkin dives in here and makes that a heck of an effort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Seminoles got away with 2 breaks so far.
2nd down and 10. They're going to split the backs again. Keeping the ball, Jackson under heavy pressure. He's going to go down. He is sacked inside the 10. That's a loss of about 10 yards. The first man in there was 85, Jimmy Tanner, a junior defensive end.
Yeah, that's a heck of a pass rush. I really, again, you hate the question because obviously Seminole saw something in the films, but they come after the block with 11 men, and then the ball's down at about the 18-yard line as opposed to maybe the 30. Now they're in bad field position.
3rd down, I'm calling about 21.
You know, Park's got to want to play a game of field position tonight.
They do. I mean, this is not what Seminole likes. They're not really a passing team. Jackson getting better as a passer, but they like to run the football. They're going to run that right here, just straight up the middle. Not much there. Gives them a little bit more punting room, and that's all Coach Roper, I think, was looking for there as they get it out to about the 12. But a long 4th down coming up in a punting situation for the Warhawks.
Good start by Pinellas Park. And, you know, this is a game that, for Coach Roper, it's kind of scary because you got a team that's 1-3, and your kids tend to get a little overconfident, and they got homecoming, and believe me, as a former coach, I know homecoming is the biggest pain of the year for any coaches. Kids have their minds everywhere, but at the game sometimes.
Punting it out of there is DeQuell Jackson. He is not the normal punter, but he has punted, and he wanted somebody back there with good hands against the goal line. Doesn't get a great kick, but gets it out to the 39, and Pinellas Park now, coach, with their 2nd possession, and excellent field position.
Absolutely. They're where they want to be, and I mentioned homecoming briefly, and you know, you don't want to make more of it than it is, but the bottom line is kids have 8 million things on their mind, and you're trying to get them ready for a football game, and that's a lot of times when teams have letdowns.
So DeQuell Jackson doing the punting, and coming in now for the 2nd series. The quarterback is Randy Bowman.
Yeah, Coach Adams said he was going to play him some. Randy comes over from Gibbs, and he had a real good season over there last year.
He's 5'11", 170 pounds.
Going out to a trips formation.
He's injured for 3 out of the 4 games. Trips to the wide side. Give it all straight up the middle. Big hit. They gave it up the middle to Billy Henderson, who lined up tight in the fullback position, and just not much there. It's going to be tough going running straight up the middle against this team.
Yeah, and what you're doing by spreading them out, obviously, is trying to get them outside, and so you can run up the middle, but Seminole's not having any of that yet.
Well, Jackson and number 90, Ed Leverance.
Yeah,
Leverance, 6'2", 213-pound junior defensive lineman.
Got to get a hat on those kids.
2nd, and we'll call it 9. Rolling it this way is Bowman. Going to tuck it up and run it. Cuts it back. Nice cut back. Going to have a 1st down, and inside the 30-yard line. Spotting down to about the 22. So a nice play by Randy Bowman. We heard he was a good runner, and he demonstrated it there.
Yeah, he looked to run right away on that play. He didn't hold it for very long. He looked like he was going to go from the beginning. Sometimes the quarterback adds a spark. He sees the lane. He doesn't hesitate. Does a nice job cutting back up inside.
It's a good block there from Solomon Johnson, the wide receiver, coming back with a nice block.
Yeah, that's what you absolutely want to see from your receivers if they're going to play for you. Receivers and backs have to block also.
1st and 10 from the 22. Henderson, the lone back with a double wing, going to send a man in motion. Toss the ball to Henderson. Good penetration, will not get there. Coming up hard, Marvin Elliott from the cornerback position, forcing the action, making him cut it back and making a nice tackle.
He's one of the real good seniors for Seminole. He does a nice job standing there. He's only about 140 pounds, but he gets Henderson before he starts to go. Do like, and they didn't get anything there, but I like the way Pinellas Park's coming out because they're spreading the field on Seminole, and if you're going to bunch up on Seminole, they're going to beat you.
Second down and 12. Nice play there by Marvin Elliott, the senior defensive back. Trips to this side. Henderson, the lone back. Roll it this way is Bowman. Throw back. Nice grab by number 2, Tim Davis. Davis is going to have a 1st and goal at about the 8. Bowman with a tough throwback sets the feet, and a great grab by Tim Davis.
I tell you, when you bring a kid in, you hope for a spark. It doesn't always happen in high school, but does a nice job of his progression here. There's a little bit high, but that's a heck of a catch by Tim Davis from Pinellas Park. I think I mentioned at the beginning, they have got to get people other than Billy Henderson involved, and so far they have. You know, Solomon Johnson threw a nice block. Bowman's involved. Nice pass out there to Tim Davis, who makes a heck of a catch.
Yes, he does. Tim Davis, you see those numbers coming in. He had 2 catches for 100. He had 55 yards per catch. Yeah. That'll hurt his average a little bit, but it gets the team a big 1st and goal from the 8, and he'll take that every time.
He's going to tell Coach Adams not to throw him the ball on this side of the 50. But so far they've started out the way they want to start out. And Seminole, I'm sure, has come in a little bit, maybe overconfident. That's a hard thing to fight. It really is. And, you know, they got to gear it up and get ready to play a little bit.
Well, the mid-quarter water break, it's still very hot and humid out here, even though we're into October on a Friday, beautiful Friday evening for football. The players keeping the liquids in them.
Yeah, it's a great crowd here, too. It's Seminole. Really nice-looking crowd out here. Again, it's their homecoming, and that's nice to see people involved in high school football.
Yes, it is. And we've had some better crowds. Last year, better crowds in Pinellas County. I think this year that is remaining the trend.
And you can see here, again, they're spreading them out a good bit. They have trips to one side, and they're very wide on the other side.
Trips to the left. Henderson, the lone back, gets the carry, and he's going to be hit and dumped in the backfield. Fabrizio, again, coming hard from the linebacker position. That'll be a 3-yard loss.
Yeah, that's something I saw in practice the other day a couple of times. Fiegel, or it's Bowman actually now, and Henderson ran into one another and playing. You can't have that at this point in the season. You know, you're in game 6. You absolutely cannot be running into one another and play like that. That's second probably to the center snap.
Fabrizio, you see him right there. Good look at him.
Yeah,
57 tackles coming in. That's his 2nd tackle for loss this season.
Well, and he's the son of the offensive coordinator over here, Coach Fabrizio, who does a real nice job for Seminole. And I've watched him on film, and he's really around the ball a good bit. Does a nice job.
Flips to the left side again. Send Smith in motion. Bowman going to run the option. Quick pitch to Smith, coming up and running hard to the football. The defense again, they're going to lose yardage again. It'll be 3rd and goal from about the 13.
One of the things that Seminole does so well, and probably the main reason they're such a good defense, is they really swarm. If you look there, you have a 5 and 6 hats on a play there. They get after the ball real nicely. Everybody's got an assignment on an option. You can see they take the quarterback away, and then they take the running back away.
T.J. Layfield forced him inside, and DeQuell Jackson from the interior linebacker just came up and made the first hit. 3rd and goal from about the 13.
Yeah, I look for him to roll Bowman out a little bit, maybe back to his left to the wide side.
Trips to the left side. The lone back is Sam Smith. Bowman will do just that, roll it that way. He's going to have a little bit of time now, running out of time. Will be sacked. So 3 plays, starting at the 8 on 3rd and goal, and they're going to end up with 4th and goal from the 15 and a field goal situation. Great defense that series by the Warhawks.
Absolutely. They gave up a pass, and then they really stiffened up here quite a bit. And they're going to bring kids. Well, I think Pinellas Park, Brian's going to find out, is they're going to have to, when they get into that roll, almost go to a half roll and stop shorter than that, because when they stretch the field, they're going east and west, and they're giving Seminole time to make plays.
DeQuell Jackson was there, but Bobby Fox made the hit.
And Cody Gelwick kicked the ball. I watched him practice the other day. He's got a nice foot.
Kick is up. It's partially blocked. It'll be no good. Coming hard off the corner, Marvin Elliott with his 2nd big play of this 1st quarter. And after a great opportunity at 1st and goal from the 8, the field goal is blocked. 3:41 remaining in a scoreless 1st quarter. Let's take another look at Elliott coming off the corner.
Snaps a little bit high. Looks like it takes him a little bit too long to get the ball in. He was just standing a little bit straight and didn't seem to get to the ball quick enough. But again, you have to hold those kids out.
Didn't push him wide enough. When you got a guy with Elliott's speed, he took a good angle to the football and got a good enough piece of it to keep it from getting anywhere near.
Yeah, well, anytime you have a kid blocking the ball from the outside on a field goal, that's the snapper or holder or kicker's fault on that. They have to get that ball off.
Jackson, a dead ball infraction as they ran the ball with Justin Lumpkin, but a dead ball infraction before they got the play going.
Yeah, and I want to ask you a question, Brian. Was there a mandate that everybody in this county runs Jerry Austin's offense? Because you got a lot of teams going to this offense. Very effective. Obviously works well. Guess if you win 43 in a row, people want to imitate you a little bit.
Well, actually, I thought that was an honor of me since I came down from Delaware in '88.
There
brought the Delaware wing team. And Jerry runs sort of his version of the Delaware wing team.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's all we saw up there. I ran that in high school. I ran it in college. We saw it was easy to prepare every week defensively because everybody ran the wing team.
And I tell you what, when it's run well, it is hard to stop.
Tough offense.
You really got to stack up in there against it.
Defensive encroachment, so it's going to be first down and 5. Jackson sends Lumpkin in motion. Going to give him the ball. The exact same play. Turns it up. Not a whole lot there. Gets it out to about the 28.
Yeah, and you know, I talked to Coach Ed Havey over at Pinellas Park a good bit this week. He's a guy who I used to coach with, and very good football coach. And he was saying to me, I asked him about what was going on. He says, you know, we got a lot of athletes. We just got to get them a little more involved. So they have the athletes to play here.
Let's take a look at the defense now. Jones, Stanley, Anthony, Bester, the guys up front. Tanner, McGee, and Bedard, along with Smith, the linebackers, Jackson, Johnson, and Henderson in your secondary. A lot of players on both teams going both ways, and there's another infraction. And wondering if Pinellas Park is lining up in that neutral zone, which you cannot do in high school football. And this is the 5th game of the season. Todd, you really don't like to see that as a coach.
No. Yeah, ball.
Now in 2 plays.
Encroachment. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. That's also a first down.
Yeah, because that's lack of concentration when you're doing things like that. You know, Pinellas Park's come out and they've actually played a pretty decent game except for a couple plays. And they had a kid, Jones, wide open down here on the flats, and then they didn't get any points out of their last drive. And Seminole will take advantage of that. They've got to make something happen.
Hunter, the lone back. Jackson fumbles the ball, but alertly falls on it.
Yeah, Seminole obviously doesn't look sharp so far.
You said homecoming, and they started out 5-0.
Well, and another thing is, if you notice the paper this week, they're ranked 10th in the state, and kids can tell you anything they want, but you start to read things, and this game scares you far worse than if you're playing a team that's 3-1 as opposed to 1-3.
So play a 3-1. They go up next week to play a 4-1 countryside team. That was a tough game done against Land O'Lakes. I'm sure they'll be fired up to play in that football game.
Absolutely, especially if they get one tonight.
Gully in motion, going to give the ball. This is number 7, Hunter. Hunter with a lot of running room. Hunter is going to burst through for a first down out near midfield. They'll spot him at the 48. Nothing fancy, just power football.
Sure, and they like to just go right up the middle. And what they like to do with their tackle and their guard is crisscross block. We call it O-block. And they block down with their tackle and bring their guard around him, and they switch men. It's worked real effectively this year for him. You can see him doing it right there. Number 56 for Seminole. The guard is Brent Farmer. He does a nice job on the kick-out block, and they just get right upfield on it.
Tackle made by Ivan Jackson, but not until he gets out to a first down at the 48. Split the backs. Jackson, the quarterback, going to give the ball this time straight off the right side. Not a lot of running room there. I believe that was Hunter again on the carry. Hunter had 117 yards rushing coming in on 20 carries. He scored 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, they just have a wealth of running backs. That's the thing. You can't, in this system, it's hard to get 1,000 yards because you keep throwing kids around. You know, you have so many that can go.
Unless you're Daniel Williams, you've got 811 yards on 32 carries. That's 25.3 yards per carry.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. He hasn't touched the ball yet, I think.
He and Sam Smith have some amazing statistics for the Pinellas Park.
He hasn't been on the field offensively yet. Play action to Quell Jackson with a little bit of time. Now he's going to run out of time. Throws it just before. That's an alert play.
Yep.
They're going to call an intentional grounding, though. Yeah. He was well on the outside, but they're saying there was no receiver anywhere near it, and they will probably call this an intentional grounding.
And you can get away with pro football and college football. You can throw it when you're out of the pocket, but not high school.
High school, you still have to have a receiver within the vicinity?
Yeah, he's rolling that way, and you still got to get a kid in the area.
He did. He threw it to one of the coaches over at Pinellas Park on the sideline.
Yeah, a lot of times, O'Brien, if you put the ball into the ground, they're going to call it. But if you actually throw the ball downfield, they won't call that. He obviously got nailed on that.
Well, he did have a receiver downfield. You could technically argue with a guy hanging on him, he couldn't get it all the way down there, but Jerry Hicks is not going to buy that argument.
On the offense,
and Coach
also
Cavanaugh
lost a down.
Coach Cavanaugh for Pinellas Park made his first interception of the season. Luke Catamaugh, I'm sorry, he's been over there for quite a while, and he does a real nice job with their defense.
I didn't see that 4.3 speed, though, on the return.
No, I don't think Coach Catamaugh's had 4.3. Well, maybe in the 20. He's a little like me.
Third and very long, back to the 34-yard line. Third and about 23 or 4.
Yeah, and Park just can't give up a big play. Here comes that sweep.
On a little counter action, tried to cut it back, but making a nice tackle was number 80 over there. Solomon Johnson's been very active early in this game for Pinellas Park.
I'll tell you what, that's a real nice tackle, because if he doesn't stop him, he may go for a while. That's just an athletic play by Solomon Johnson.
So he fights off a block, too, to do it.
And that's a nice job. And one of the nice things about having him and you have Billy Henderson, a free safety, is if somebody breaks, they have the speed to track him down.
Punting it out of there again with DeQuell Jackson, so he is going to be the punter in this contest. And Henderson lets it hit, and that's a mistake. It's going to roll inside the 20 down to the 16. So talk about the differential in field position. Their last drive started at the Seminole 39. This one starts at their own 16.
Yeah, he absolutely has to field that ball, and that's one thing, as a high school coach, you kind of hold your breath because you're afraid of a fumble. At the same time, you can't let the ball go back. And Brian, if you look, Seminole was pinned down at their 18, and then Park went all the way down to the 8, and now the field position has changed drastically. So even though Seminole doesn't score and they haven't really moved the ball that well, they got the one big play that is put the ball back now for Pinellas Park inside their own 20.
And 2 encroachment penalties against Pinellas Park, hurting their cause, and field position in high school football, any football, very important.
Huge.
Bowman stays in a quarterback after that last drive. Going to send Henderson in motion, toss him the ball, going to turn it back up the middle, and not a lot there. Gets out to about the 19. Going to gain about 3, and that's it.
Yeah, and Seminole coaching staff, Coach Perlin, does a really nice job with that defense. And he knows the kid you have to stop is Henderson. The other kids can't hurt you, but Henderson's been the one to prove. He's 800-some yards rushing. That's the kid you have to stop right now.
He has 828 yards rushing on 69 carries, 12 yard per carry average, 7 touchdowns. Wow. No wonder he's leading the county in rushing.
12 yards per carry, that's not bad. He's getting a lot of looks, too, from colleges.
Going to go in motion once again on 2nd and 7, giving the ball. Same play, opposite direction. He is just ripped to the ground. The ball hits the ground, but it wasn't on the ground. It's fumbled. Let's see. Are they going to call it a fumble on the last play of the quarter? Or are they going to say that the ground caused the fumble? That was a very vicious tackle. Sure. And I believe they say that the ground caused the fumble. We'll leave you with that replay. That was the final play of a scoreless first quarter. You are watching the high school football game of the week right here on Time Warner's Channel 7. Fire Knox Todd Wilson back with you at Seminole High School. Scoreless first quarter between Pinellas Park and Seminole. Hope you're enjoying Time Warner's coverage of the high school football game of the week. It's going to be 3rd down. And we'll call it 1 for Pinellas Park.
And Brian, a really big 3rd down because, again, even when you don't score, if you can play that battle of field position, you're making Seminole work with the longer field. Right now they have that advantage.
Gary Fiegel back in a quarterback. Going to send Henderson in motion, and he's going to call timeout. Coming out of the quarter timeout for the quarter break to move into the second quarter. You'd hate to see that.
Well,
sophomore quarterback, not sure, so he did the wise thing, I guess, calling.
Yeah, what I think they were doing was trying to get Seminole to jump. He was hard counting, and a lot of coaches like to do that. I've done it before. It never worked for me either. I don't, 3rd down, you're wasting time out you may need later, and it's, some people like it, but it gets to the point where you're really not fooling anyone. If you're playing a well-coached team, he's telling his kids, don't jump, stay on sides. What I think they were looking to run there, too, is if you watch Henderson on his motion, he goes a little bit further. They're looking to come back with a trap to the fullback, which I think you're going to see pretty soon, if not this play.
Well, the district standings in 4A7 look just like this. Seminole 2-0 coming in 5-0 on the season. Largo, a surprise team this year, doing a great job under Coach Rodriguez at 4-1, 2-0 in the district. Pinellas Park, as we said, if they can somehow get an upset tonight, even though they have a 1-3 record, they're right in the middle of this district race.
Oh, no doubt. And Coach Rodriguez, you said, has done a great job. I'm going to tell you, I told you before the broadcast, the team that's going to start making a headway, and they may not be able to get back in it, they may, is Northeast High School. Watched them last week. They were better than 0-4 at the time.
Quarterback sneak.
And he got it, I believe.
He got it. Big kid here, the sophomore Gary Fiegel. He's 6'1", 205. Good size for a young quarterback, and he gets the first down. Keep this drive alive, just into the second quarter. We have a early Halloween guest here in front of us in the stands. You saw the guy in the gorilla suit. I guess unless that's his homecoming outfit. I don't know.
It might be a little.
You went to Seminole. Is that the kind of characters we have here, or what?
I don't know. I was down on the sideline, but we were never 5-0. That took us about 4 years to get 5 wins.
Big River's done a great job with this program the last couple of years. First and 10 from their own 27 for the Patriots. Quick hitter up in the air. Good linebacker play. Batted the ball up. Had a receiver out there in Smith, but the linebacker tipped it up in the air. Looked like Fabrizio, I believe.
Yeah, and I like the play call. You have to make sure that he clears the linebacker before you throw it. Let's see. He may have cleared him. It may just be a good play.
Jackson, actually.
Yeah, and what you're going to teach your receiver, that's really Sam Smith's fault more than the quarterback's, because you got to teach him to hit the zone in between. He can't run directly behind that linebacker. That's where, the kid's going to knock it down just like he did. You got to teach him to get into a little bit of a zone behind him.
Second down and 10. So a young team having an opportunity there, but just a mistake by a young team. Going to give the ball a draw play. Not a whole lot there for Kevin Smith, another senior running back, as he gets it out.
Sure, but one thing Coach Adams has done a nice job of today offensively is he has gotten the ball to some other people besides Billy Henderson, and you just absolutely have to do that to keep Seminole honest.
It's out to about the 33. It's going to bring up third down and along 5 from there for the Patriots, hanging in well in this contest.
Sure are. And again, if you're going to roll pass, or what we call waggle pass, he's going to have to set up a little bit quicker and get rid of the football. Look for Seminole to blitz here a little bit.
Google, more of the passer. As I said, got pretty good numbers coming in. 30 for 49 for 382 yards and a couple of touchdowns. That's throwing 3 interceptions. Third and along 5. Trips to the wide side. They're going to send the man in motion this way. Smith toss him the ball on the short side. Toss nothing there. Good disciplined team defense by the Warhawks.
Yeah, and again, you're swarming there. I'm sure Coach Adams doesn't want a turnover there. You're swarming the ball. Let's see what Seminole comes with. Well, you had one of two things there. You had your guard and tackle pulling out the opposite way, so you're either trying to influence Blackman, which I don't really think they were doing. I think they just misheard the call or what have you.
You've got a young team. You have a young offensive line. 2 guys going the other way of the run. Bobby Fox at offensive end staying home to make the tackle. Good-looking football player. Had 26 tackles coming into the contest. A 6', 230-pound junior. Cody Gelwick on the punt. Danielle Williams, the deep man, low end over end punt. Williams comes up, makes a nice grab on the run at the 40. Williams across midfield. Williams down this near sideline, going to be pushed out of bounds for a fine return. And just spot him out at about the 38. And Todd, that's the difference with a veteran and a big play guy came up and caught the ball aggressively on the run instead of letting it hit in front of him and rolling another 20 yards.
Sure, he's a senior and he makes a play when it needs to be made. Does a nice job, exactly like you said. Billy Henderson let the last one drop. He comes up and picks the ball up, runs downfield, gets what he can. Really nothing. He just got the ball in the air and went.
It's made an athletic play. They spot it just inside the 40-yard line at the 39.
Park's got to continue to make Seminole work, though. They can't give the big one up.
P.J. Layfield, number 6 now, in a quarterback for Seminole. Going to give the ball straight up the middle to Fabrizio, the fullback, and not a lot there, a yard or 2, but the Pinellas Park front certainly doing a nice job that time.
Yeah, absolutely. They're doing a nice job. They gave up one run a little bit, but overall they've done a real nice job against the run tonight. what you have to remember playing defensively, and that's a great job by number 45, Matt McGee for Pinellas Park. But what you have to remember defensively is to play your spot. You can't begin to guess, because just as soon as you guess on that dive type play, they're going to bring a buck sweep back to the outside.
And you're doing a great job of fighting off the blocker to make the tackle at 27 tackles coming in, the junior linebacker.
Absolutely.
Layfield, the quarterback, going to give the ball to Williams, and that was not a good mesh between the quarterback and the running back, Danielle Williams. And it was a reverse pivot. Williams was almost buying.
Yeah, it looked like they were trying to run some type of trap play.
We got confused. He turned the wrong way, I guess, or either that or Williams went the wrong way, one or the other. Just communication there.
Well, I'm wondering, too, because both guards pulled out, and they pull out on a buck sweep, so I'm wondering what exactly went on there, if there was some misunderstanding on that play.
3rd and 9. Layfield, the quarterback, will split the backs. Williams and Lumpkin behind him. Going to give the ball to Williams, just straight up the middle, into the secondary. Look out! Williams down this near sideline, going to take it in for the touchdown. That's a 39-yard touchdown run for Danielle Williams. That is his 3rd touchdown rushing. Make that the 6th touchdown rushing on the year, and his average of 25.3 yards per carry just went up.
Staying there, and what you got there is you got a kid who just bounces back outside and goes. Reminds me a little bit of the kid from Northeast last week, Washington, who also wears number 20. What I think you're going to see here again, Brian, is Park. We talked about them playing their position so well, and they did a nice job. We'll just look for the extra point first.
Kick is up, and it is good by number 16, Brandon Mott.
Yeah, we talked about them playing their spot and doing your responsibility and nobody else's, and I think that time they got... Let's go ahead to commercial, and then we'll come back.
We'll take a time out. You are watching the high school football game of the week right here on Time Warner's Channel 7. Danielle Williams with a 39-yard touchdown run to kickstart the Seminole offense on 3rd and 9. It was nothing fancy, Todd, right off the right side.
No, and what I began to say again before we went to commercial is you have to play your responsibilities. 3rd and 9, they're thinking pass, they're jetting it up for a pass, and that's when sometimes you don't fill your lanes. You get those blinders on for the quarterback.
Abramson kicks it off, taking it at the 9-yard line as Kevin Smith is going to take it all the way across the field, and will get out again. I don't think he even gets to the 20. Yeah. And that's twice now we've seen on kickoff. Seminole try to take it all the way across the field to set up the return against a very speedy team. He caught it at 9. To me, get upfield north-south and get your yardage.
Yeah, we used to tell our kids, and this is just our theory. People look at it differently, but I'd always tell our kids, or our coaches would, is that if we had a right return set up and it was kicked that far to the left, get what you can get out of it, because again, you hit the nail on the head. They're very fast at Seminole, and he's coming across, and they're not going to hold their blocks that long and kick return. And Fabrizio comes down, makes a nice stick.
Fabrizio and Marvin Elliott, they've been all over the field early in this contest. Bowman back in a quarterback. Going to start inside their 20. Rolls it this way, and he's going to have a little bit of running room. Turns it up and runs out of that running room in a hurry, and that's why right there, that team speed to Quell Jackson shows why he is a big-time prospect, only as a junior.
Yeah, and he had Solomon Johnson wide open down the middle of the field. He's got to, again, he did a nice job the first time he rolled and ran, but he's going to have to set himself up and throw the football. He's not looking to throw here at all. Now, I'm certain that Solomon Johnson was their primary receiver on that, and he didn't look up to him once. You have to turn your shoulders and throw the ball.
So he gained only a yard when it looked like he had a lot of running room. And
yeah, it's key for Pinellas Park to do something here. Even if you don't score, they got to move the ball a little bit. Seminole's so explosive, they can get 21 real quick on you.
Trips to the right side. Henderson, the running back. Bowman rolling it that way with a little bit of time. Fires it in the seam. Is it caught? It's picked off by Fabrizio on the rebound. Brings it back this way inside the 40, and he's run down from behind. Good hustle coming back. One of the wide receivers David Newton, the senior, making the play from behind to avoid further problems for Seminole. For Pinellas Park make that.
Yeah, and Bowman throws the ball downfield, and I thought for a second Solomon Johnson had a chance to catch it. Nice blocking by Pinellas Park on this if you watch. They give him time. Again, he's not setting his feet much, but they give him time. Ball bounces out, and Fabrizio, you can't quite see it. You can see him now in the picture, makes the interception. I tell you one thing, watching film on this, Joey Fabrizio is all over the field. He makes plays where some kids are going to stop and not react. He's got very good instincts.
Good-looking player. T.J. Layfield remains in a quarterback, giving DeCall Jackson a break. Saw Jackson all over the field defensively for Seminole.
Yeah, they do a nice job switching their quarterbacks, getting him some rest.
Fabrizio, the fullback. Going to give him the ball off the right side, runs over a defender, and gets down to the 30.
And, you know, he's 6'1", 200 pounds. They say, I don't think he's that big. He's only 10th grade.
Well, they have him listed in the program, but we have him listed as about 5'10", 180, I think, in our headshots. Probably more accurate.
Yeah, because if he's 180, they're only listing him 20 pounds overweight.
He might be 6'1" with his helmet and his football shoes on,
and stilts and some weights in his pocket, but he's a good-looking football player.
Sophomore, absolutely. Second down, and we'll call it a short 5. This is Fabrizio again, spinning out of a tackle. Good penetration that time. He spun forward for a couple. It's going to be 3rd and short. Looks like he may have been shaken up a little bit.
Yeah, he's like his dad. He's a tough kid. Just base blocking up front, and they come up and try to wrap up. You got to wrap up there, cut down a yard or two on that. Big play for Pinellas Park here, Brian.
I think that might have been Matt McGee on that. Good aggressive hit. It just didn't wrap up. It came in hard.
Well, and if you look at the differences a little bit in the defense, the Seminoles swarm, and they're getting 5 and 6 to the ball. Pinellas Park starting to get to one man there, whether they're getting tired or not. You've got to get a lot of people around the ball.
3rd and 3.
Look for number 20 here to carry the football.
Elliott in motion, going to give the ball to Hunter instead, and Hunter will be close. It'll depend on the spot. Like he's just short.
Yeah, they're marking him short. Be a big stand for Pinellas Park if they could stop it. Seminoles going timeout.
Going to have the officials timeout. Going to be the mid-quarter water break, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
6 minutes remaining in the second quarter. 7-0 Seminole. They'll be facing a 4th and 1 on resume action. And Pinellas Park said hanging around, played pretty well. Now getting just a little bit sloppy in a big play in this football game coming up right here on 4th and 1.
Well, yeah, and again, if you watch Seminole, they get a bunch of hats to the ball. You always tell your kids, assume the other guy's going to miss the tackle because you don't want him to ever quit. You saw Fabrizio on his interception. That's an instinctive thing to a certain extent, but the kid knows not to quit. He comes back and picks the ball out of the air. Pinellas Park's starting to get the one man to the football, and they're going to really have to break down and get a lot of guys to the ball. You know, it's funny, Brian, because a lot of people, and I'm sure at times I did it, make this game a lot more complicated than it is. You know, get people to the football, stop the run.
Blocking and tackling, and get yourself some help. You don't set yourself up to be one-on-one out there with too many people. 4th and 1. Give the ball to Hunter. Plenty of room right up the gut. And he drags tacklers along for an easy first down. 4th and 1, and he gains about 7 yards.
Yeah, coming into the season, Coach Rober's biggest question mark was his offensive line, but he's also said that's their most improved area. They do a nice job wedge blocking there, getting people out of the way, just a little base blocking. What's really funny is Danielle Williams has touched it once and scored, and they don't give him the ball a lot. But I guess when they need a touchdown, that's the guy to go to.
Keep that 25-yard average, which is larger now, up. 1st and 10. Give the ball this time to Lumpkin. Lumpkin with some running room. Lumpkin going to be inside the 10. Spotting down at about the 4. 1st and goal from there for the Warhawks.
Yeah, and that's a nice job by Lumpkin. He's about the 4th or 5th kid with carries. Actually, that's about his 3rd carry of the night. But they bring a little buck sweep, and he follows. Look at him following his blocking. They're staying low the way you want him back to, squaring his shoulders up now. Gets hit, but keeps the legs churning. That's a nice run.
Lumpkin had 196 yards rushing coming in on 32 carries, averaging 6.1 yards per carry. Helped that average with that one. 1st and goal from the 4. Layfield, the quarterback. Going to give the ball to Lumpkin, up over the top, will not get there. Tripped up, nice defensive play there by the Patriots.
That is a nice defensive play. I don't know quite what he got on it, a yard or two. You know, even if you can force someone to try a field goal, it's really helpful down here.
Could not quite see who made that play, but it was a good effort. Tripped him up, got him up in the air.
Yeah, Lumpkin's a tough kid because he came down on his hat.
Virtually no gain. Call it second and goal from somewhere around the 4. The Seminoles to see a little bit of a low angle here in the press box.
Seminoles in their 3-back T-type set, and they like this down the goal line.
Give the ball right side. Hunter, gang tackled by Pinellas Park. Bounced off the initial tackle, and 3 or 4 of those hats you talked about came in and made a hit.
Yeah, and a nice job. And again, there's less field to work with, but this is where you have to do that. Big play once again for Pinellas Park. You can watch them getting low there. Comes up, 32 Jones makes the initial hit, and then 9 Ricky Berdard, who we spoke about at the beginning, has 50 tackles and I believe was 3 interceptions, does a real nice job on that, filling the gap.
Yes, he did. After a good penetration initially by Anwar Jones.
And
Third and goal.
What do you think here?
I think we have a full house backfield.
No predictions.
Pass play, Layfield's going to fire it up for grabs. Is it intercepted? It should have been, but boy, Seminole dodges a bullet right there.
They sure did, boy.
That ball should have been picked as it bounced right out of the arms of Ivan Jackson, number 4, the senior.
Yeah, and I'll guarantee you Coach Fabrizio is not happy with that play. You can see the rollout here, and he's got some pressure. You just don't force that pass right there.
That was the up man, actually, that batted away from number 4 Jackson. His guy got in the way and almost tipped it away from him, but he didn't know who was behind him.
And Ivan Jackson, it's a nice play to be raised, but he's got to come through it with both hands up high. You can't wait on the ball in a situation like that, which I think he did a little bit.
Ball snapped through on the field goal. Layfield picks it up. He's going to be swarmed under, and Pinellas Park dodges the bullet to stay alive in this game as they will take over. That was going to be a 22-yard field goal attempt, but the ball went right through T.J. Layfield's hands. Couldn't haul it in. A little bit of a high snap, and
yeah, but you got to get that. You said it though too. Dodged the bullet. And, you know, and the game started out with Pinellas Park playing strong defense, and then they had a little bit of a lull. But this has got to give them confidence to get back in this football game. They dodged the bullet there. They're still down only a touchdown. 3.5 minutes, a little bit less than that to go in the first half. If I'm Pinellas Park, even if I have to go in 7-0 at half, I'm very careful about what I do here.
Well, and the both teams now have held the other team with a first and goal. After 3 plays and in the 4th play, they turned them back, both of them on field goal attempts. One was blocked and one was mishandled. Tossed the ball to Billy Henderson, and not a lot there. Falls forward for maybe a couple.
No, they're doing a good job on him. You know, if Pinellas Park has got a reverse in their arsenal, this is the time to run it. They swarm so hard to the ball, and they're looking so hard at Henderson. You want to come back with something, whether it's that or a counter or whatever it may be, but you got to come back with something to the backside.
Because this right there is with a great athlete, but it's still not fooling anybody. You toss it to him 5 or 6 yards deep, and that speed has a chance to adjust and make a play.
Absolutely, and you're looking at Henderson there. Right away he's looking inside because he's bottled up from the outside, so that's not where you want him looking, but he doesn't really have a choice.
Second down and 8. Henderson in motion. Beagle, the quarterback, going to run a counter play, but nothing there. Faked the toss out to Henderson, ran that counter play, but just a tough Warhawk interior 7.
Well, Coach Adams shouldn't listen to me. But if you notice before the snap of the ball, Seminole had all 11 within about 5 yards. And when that happens, they're not respecting your pass.
Sam Smith was with the ball carrier there, and Gary Fiegel, now the sophomore quarterback, is going to be facing 3rd and 10 as they lost 2 yards on that counter play to Sam Smith.
Yeah, and you know, Coach Adams has got to be thinking, even if you don't score, hold them go in at 7-0, and you got a lot better shot at winning this ball game.
Henderson in motion, straight back field, going to throw, fade this way, has it way up in the air, looking for the big guy, and Danielle Williams and Marvin Elliott both batted down. They're trying to get it to 6'3" and Solomon Johnson.
Yeah, and they're playing some type of umbrella, whether it's cover 2, cover 4 back there, and he locked on it. It looks like a cover 4 on that. Although he may just have seen the receiver and nobody out in the flats. But again, Williams Danielle Williams does a nice job coming over and breaking that up. And that's when you're in a cover 2 look, Brian, when you have the speed, cover 2 is taking half the field, you have the speed to come over, that helps you out. You can't float the ball in there. You want to attack right in the middle of the field against that.
Cody Delwick on a punt. Got plenty of time. Off the side of his foot. Looked like he just wanted to kick it away from Danielle Williams. It went out of bounds.
Yeah, and again, Coach Perlin does a really nice job with that Seminole secondary, and whether they were in a 4 or a 2, I tend to think it was a cover 2, which the 2 free safeties, all that means is they each have half the field. And where you want to attack that is straight down the middle. And if you remember earlier in the game, they had Solomon Johnson wide open in the middle because they have to be able to get from midfield over to the sideline on that, the deep safeties. Well, Pinellas Park better buckle it up right here.
Well, Jackson back in at quarterback. Wing left. Send the man in motion. Going to give the ball straight up the middle of Hunter, and Hunter will get a couple of yards, and a marker is down. They're going to have a face mask or some kind of an illegal block.
Yeah, generally that's a hold or a face mask when you see it right there.
Jerry Hicks to sort it out for us. Going to call a face mask against Pinellas Park, and that is not what they're looking for with 1:37 left.
I tell you what, not at all. And you know what? I don't think he ever touched his face mask. Maybe I missaw it, but it looked like he got him up around the collar.
Tough to tell from that angle, but yeah, the officials called it.
And they're closer than I am, so, but it didn't look to me like he grabbed it, although maybe he did. Here it comes again. Yep, he grabs him up around the shoulder pads. I knew I was going to get one of these right tonight.
First, they're going to call it the 5-yard variety as part of the foul infraction, so it's 1st and 4.
Good.
Run the option, Jackson. Nick gets hit, pitches it out here. The ball is loose. It's picked up and falls down. Does Delvon Stanley. He could have maybe returned it for a touchdown, but he did a good thing at least getting the football and not overrunning. It's a tough play to make for a young
I'm standing up here grimacing because as a coach, you're always saying, get on the ball, but he had some room to pick it up. But again, you can't fault the kid for that play right there.
Jackson, when he's getting hit going down, wants to make a play, but when you're winning 7-0, hold the ball.
And I'll tell you, before he does anything else, Delvon Stanley does a nice job kicking the ball away. If you notice that, he put his foot in there, which is illegal, but hey, he did it.
It was an accident.
Oh, they're all accidents. Absolutely.
So a big play again by Pinellas Park playing well, except for the one play on 3rd and 9 where Williams took it 39 yards for the touchdown. They have played this powerful Warhawk team to a standoff.
Yeah, they've done a nice job. Now the problem here you have is your quarterback's not on the field, and that's not good.
That always helps. Now they were supposed to be alternating, so maybe the young guy Fiegel thought he wasn't supposed to be in there, but he comes out now. We'll take another look at that last play, and here it is. Oh, a little soccer action there. Just dribbling it forward to get a good clean shot on goal.
Delvon just says, hey, I'm just trying to pick it up. And again, you're right. You kind of go in between on that because if he doesn't get it, you're saying jump on the football, son. But at the same time, you're thinking pick it up and go.
That was a pretty alert play because he almost ran by the ball by putting the left foot out there and just kind of tapping it forward a little bit. He kept his momentum so he could fall on the ball. Otherwise, he might have ran right by it.
I don't know if he plays soccer or not, but he needs to. He's just an 11th grader. Yeah, you made a good point. Pinellas Park's played a pretty good first half. Offensively, they've missed a few opportunities, and they have to capitalize. But, unless something goes dramatically wrong, it looks like it's going to be 7-0 or possibly 7-7, 7-3 at halftime.
Defensively, except for that one play, they've hung tough. They had a 1st and goal from the 4 and stopped the Warhawks. Going to throw the fade pattern. Williams out there. It's going to pick up his 5th interception on the year. Throw it right to him. You cannot, as you said in the cover 2, with athletes like that, just put it up for grab. Danielle Williams had 4 interceptions coming in. He's returned 2 of them for touchdowns, and that was an easy one.
And absolutely. What you tell your cornerbacks to do in cover 2 is to funnel the kids inside, and Fiegel drops back, and actually the receiver, number 17, David Newton, does a pretty good job breaking on the ball, but the problem is Fiegel leaves it right out there in almost the quarter of the field. If you're going to miss on that, you got to miss out of bounds on it.
That's a play where a more veteran quarterback and a tougher high school quarterback, but a pro-type college would throw on the line in between the corner and the safety, and they make a receiver actually slow down to catch the ball.
Sure, and I'll be honest, I think you want to attack the middle a little bit more against that.
Here comes Lumpkin, going to run it to Hunter, make that Hunter. Almost cut it back this sideline, could have still been running. But that's a nice open field tackle by Ivan Jackson again, who's been tough. He's played a pretty good first half for James Adams.
Yeah.
Now Seminole going to burn a timeout with 1 minute exactly remaining in this first half as they lead it by the score of 7-0.
Well, and I hope I didn't speak too soon about the score, because Seminole obviously right here wants to put one in, and they feel a lot better at 14. Pinellas Park, on the other hand, this drive and the first drive of the second half are the keys for Pinellas Park. You've got to stop them in these situations. Seminole reminds me, you know, going back like every announcer does to the glory days, but Seminole's backs remind me a good bit of the kids I had at Dixie for a couple of years, because they have so many of them. We had, you know, the Juice Williams and the Johnny Smith and the Eric Melvins and Curtis Andrews, and they'd all rush for about 600, and people would always say, hey, how come Juice doesn't have 1,000 yards? Well, because we mixed it up with 4 or 5 kids. And
you can keep guys fresh that way.
Absolutely.
You keep everybody happy that way. And when
Sure.
crunch time comes, you've always got somebody who, you know, is going to be ready to play. Maybe somebody's nicked up or they're a little tired or whatever, and you've got one guy that's always ready to go.
Yeah, you're gonna see kids like Billy Henderson, who's a heck of a player, but you're gonna see him with more yards than some of the other backs that have people around him. He's kind of basically their big breakaway kid.
Second down and 2 for the Warhawks from their own 29. Straight up the middle. Danielle Williams moves the pile for a first down out to the 35. They will stop the clock to move the chains.
Yeah, and they've run that play, you know,
Actually, they'll stop the clock by a timeout.
several times. Yeah, they took their second timeout. They're going to have to throw the football a little bit here. You see again, they cross block or O block and get the ball upfield a little bit. But if you're Pinellas Park, you know, that 10 yards doesn't kill you. What you have to tell your kids, and we saw it last week, Lakewood Northeast. If you're Pinellas Park, we saw Northeast give this up in the first half. Don't let the ball behind you. Absolutely nothing goes behind you at this point.
Seminole with the kind of athletes that can strike, as we've seen already, in one play in a hurry. Double wing. Phil Jackson is the quarterback. He's going to send a man in motion. Going to give the run to counter crisscross to Danielle Williams into the secondary. Marker down. This one's coming back. He gets a first down out to the 46. 2 markers down, and it's going to come back. And that was a decisive toss of the flag by the official.
Well, and they set that play up. They ran what we call a speed trap, crisscross, whatever you want to call it. We're going to move again. Another play that Jerry Austin's run for so many years.
In the Delaware Wing team, that the proper terminology is the counter crisscross.
Is that the counter crisscross? We used to, when Northeast was running on us, we called it some bad names I can't say on the air, because it's a good football play.
Keep that in your pocket, Coach. We don't want to see that one.
There you go.
Well, the penalty marks them back, obviously, so it's going to be first down and about 19.
Seminole just, you know, and hopefully I'm not jinxing anybody, but Seminole just does not look crisp. They really don't. I know they're a better football team. They played the first half. Again, give credit to Pinellas Park. They've done a nice job.
Lumpkin in motion on the counter action, fumbling the football, but falling on it.
Yeah,
Number 6 on the carry. No, that's not TJ Layfoot. Who is it? Number 8 make that. That's DeQuaris Gully on the carry.
Yeah, it almost looks now like, you know, Coach Roper's going to be content to go in at halftime the way it is.
That ball didn't even get to him. That was on his hip, and he's reaching for it. That just wasn't a very well executed play. We'll put it that way.
Well, the clock's running down, and they may call timeout and try to get one play off.
I think they're going to just go in.
They may just run it out. I'm not quite sure what they're doing. If they got a timeout, they need to use it.
They get the play off. Going to run it to Williams again, and he's going to get into the secondary again. Look out. Well, an exciting last run of this first half. Again on the counter crisscross. Ran it back across the field. It took about 4 or 5 Pinellas Park players to slow him down before they could make the stop. An exciting first half. 7-0 is your score. And Todd, we talked about Pinellas Park has to feel good going in at halftime. They have to try to find something offensively that'll work for them, but defensively they played well.
Well, yeah, and they come out and they got to kick the ball off, and that's the key series of the game.
Let's go down to Brian Syracuse with Coach Roper.
Well, thanks, guys. I'm here with Coach Roper. And, Coach, can you talk about the bringing in T.J. Layfield into the quarterback position?
We've alternated T.J. and Quell all year, and that's not anything new for us. I mean, there's nothing strange about that to us. I mean, we've worked him there, trying to get Quell off the field a little bit, let him rest. Pinellas Park come to play tonight, so, you know, we got to get ready the second half.
A little bit of a wet football out there. It seems like it's been a little bit of a sloppy first half.
I would say that. It's, real humid tonight, but we got to protect the football, as I said earlier.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. I'm going to pitch it back upstairs to Brian Uxton, Todd Wilson.
Okay, Brian Syracuse, our third man with us, as always, here today. An exciting first half. So Coach Roper a little bit frustrated, but his team played very well defensively, too. Let's not forget they stopped Pinellas Park on a 1st and goal from the 8 and turned them backwards. 7-0 your score at the half. We'll take a break and be back with our halftime show. You are watching the high school football game of the week right here on Time Warner's Channel 7.
Welcome back to Seminole High School, where it's homecoming night, and the Seminole Warhawks are leading 7-0. We're going to go to the first half highlights, and they begin with Mr. Daniel Williams. Oh, he shows up for the game of the week. He sets this up with a big punt return. Now he takes the ball on 3rd and 9 straight up the middle before breaking it outside on a 39-yard TD run to put the Warhawks up 7-0. And that's the end of the scoring, but still big plays left in the second half as DeQuell Jackson comes back into the game after taking a few series off and tries to make something happen, throwing it behind Marvin Elliott. And Delvon Stanley doing the smart thing, playing a little soccer, smart kid, kicking the ball away and falling on top of it to set the Park up with just over a minute left. But the first play, the young sophomore quarterback, Gary Fiegel, drops back looking to hook up with David Newton, who has not been with the Patriots, but for the second week now. Their timing's a little bit off, and there he is again, Daniel Williams, always showing up all over your TV screen. You look at the first half numbers, and really, it's all Seminole on the yardage, 116-32. 2 big turnovers for Patriots, and as we saw in the highlights, the Seminole also had 1. I'm going to be back with the head coach of Pinellas Park Patriots, James Adams.
Brian Ox, Todd Wilson back with you for second half action. Danielle Williams has the only score of the game, a 39-yard touchdown run, which was happened on 3rd down and 9 to give the Warhawks the 7-0 halftime lead. Didn't hurt his 25-yard per carry average from scrimmage, which is an unbelievable figure. He's one of the 2 deep men for Seminole. Also deep is number 8, DeQuaris Gully. Kicking off, number 7, Cody Gelwick, going to just squib it.
Yeah, and that's a good play by Pinellas Park. They give their kids time to get down.
Gully picked it up, I thought, on a knee, but they're going to say he was up. That's borderline. We'll leave it at that.
I thought Gully was down on that, too.
But he only gets out to the 26, which is what James Adams and Pinellas Park wanted, because he kicked the ball to Danielle Williams. He could have taken it the distance.
Here he comes, you can see.
No,
he's down.
He's definitely down. Ugh. I didn't think my eyes deceived me there. He slipped after he clearly had control.
He's a smart kid, though. He got up and ran like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened.
It's such a key drive right here for Pinellas Park and really for Seminole to try to get a little breathing room.
Going to go in a quick count. Going to give the ball to number 1, Justin Lumpkin, to this side. Gets pretty good blocking and good yardage out to the 34. It's a nice gain on 1st down, giving him a gain of about 7.
And that's a great point about a quick count, because they came right out on the ball. Out of all the running backs that we've seen tonight, I'll be real honest with you, the most impressive kid to me is Lumpkin, because he runs downhill, keeps his shoulders low to the ground, and he's running down always towards the other goal line instead of straight up and down.
Well, he averaged 6 yards a carry coming in, and he has not hurt that average this evening.
Good-looking player.
2nd down and a short 3. A little bit of movement there. Dead ball infraction.
Riley and Galmish, the tight end, jumped offsides there. And when you do it that badly, sometimes you do it and you can't really tell. Right there.
We have an offensive encroachment in the neutral zone. Offensive end. 2nd down.
Ryland doesn't have too many places to hide, because that's pretty obvious on that play.
Jerry Hicks with the official call, moves it back, makes it 2nd and 8. Split the backs on the wing tee. They didn't have the man set on the wing, but I don't know if they called it. I don't think they did. They didn't get any yardage on it anyway, but the man on the wing was still going down in a stance when the ball was snapped.
Yeah, they're trying to quick count, which is one thing, but you got to make sure as a quarterback your kids are set.
Williams gets a carry, and that's a nice penetration and a good play right there to wrestle him to the ground by 23, Jamarcus Smith, and he had some help.
Well, with the exception of the one touchdown run, this is where Park's done a pretty decent job, and they have to. They have to force Seminole to put the ball in the air.
Jamarcus had 33 tackles coming in, 5'8", 170-pound sophomore. Third down and 7. Going to run it right up off the counter that time to DeQuaris Gully. Will not quite get there.
He's going to be a little bit short.
Spot him at the 35.
Looks like they ran that inside trap again. Just turned.
DeQuaris Gully.
And you know, Brian, anytime you're running a misdirection type offense, trap's a great play up inside because you got to be so aware of that buck sweep and you got to be aware of something coming backside, and then all of a sudden you run that, and a lot of times you get people guessing. Pinellas Park did a pretty decent job staying home on it.
4th and 1. DeQuell Jackson in the punt, almost blocked, and hitting him from behind is number 6 Sam Smith, and that's going to be roughing the kicker.
Yeah, and that's a shame, but you know, I'm not sure he didn't get blocked into him.
Happened right in front of our referee, Jerry Hicks, made the call immediately. Let's take a look at it.
You see low snap, nice job fielding it. Yeah, see, you know, and again, it's a danger type thing, and you understand that. Boy, oh boy, he gets blocked into him, Brian. He's trying to block the punt, and you can't really fault number 6, Sam Smith from Pinellas Park on that.
I said, the official explained to me a couple of years ago in high school football, that's what they say, that it doesn't matter if you run into the kicker, and that's the call, and that's and it was. I mean, he was blocked, but he's got a good piece of it. I mean, you said it's dangerous there, and they're trying to protect the athletes here in high school football. Maybe it's not fair. It wouldn't probably be called that way in the other college or pros, but it was the correct call.
And that's an awful tough break for Pinellas Park. They're discussing it right now.
They're going to call timeout.
Well,
Coach Adams maybe doesn't agree with that interpretation. He's not real happy, and he's coming out to talk to Jerry Hicks. Take another look at it.
They come again.
Let's look at another angle here. Let's see how severely he does get blocked. As you see, number 6 is going to block him, TJ Layfield. Didn't get much of him. That's probably a pretty good call. From that angle, you can see differently, right?
Absolutely, and I think it is a good call from that angle. And
he did not get a piece of the football. He just got all of his leg, and that's a good call by Jerry Hicks, our referee, who had a pretty good look at it. And we saw from the second angle that he really didn't get much of him. He was almost by him. He's got a little piece of him.
Yeah,
block.
And James Adams is upset, and he calls a timeout here. The only thing about that is you may have to use those, and you're not changing the officials' minds. I mean, that's the call's the call, and they're going to stick with it.
Listen, in that kind of a season for Coach Adams, he's been close and close and close, but has not quite put anybody away, except for the one victory they had to put them at 1-3.
Well, and we talked about the first drive being so important. They did a nice job stopping Seminole, but now they're giving them another chance.
Bill Jackson in a quarterback, straight up the middle. This is Hunter, and Hunter with a nice burst of about 8 or 9 on first down, just right off the left side. Good blocking there between the interior tackles for Seminole.
Yeah, simple off-tackle play again. If we see it on the replay, see if they O-blocked it. No, it looked from that angle at least like they just base blocked. They fired out on their men and won the battle up front.
Tony Lorenzetti, Dallas Souls, Ryan Bordeaux, Brent Farmer, Tyler Manning, your big offensive front. Same thing this time to the right side. Not quite as successful.
And if you're Seminole, you're in 2-down territory. So, you know, you may go that way once, maybe twice again.
Ricky Bedard on the tackle. Third down and 1. Look at Bedard, the man we featured in a pregame show, the leading tackler coming in with 50 stops. He's added a few to that tally this evening.
Yeah, he's good. And again, here's where you have to play your responsibility. If they get the first down, that's the way it goes.
Gully off the right side will get it easily. Down inside the 35.
Yeah, I always used to feel like when they had 3rd and a foot or 2nd and a foot, you almost better off just saying, okay, if they get it, they get it, but play your responsibility. Don't guess. And Park did a pretty decent job on that. You can see they run that sweep again, Seminole does, and get 4 or 5 yards on it, but Park still made the play.
Well, DeQuez Gully, he's a guy also averaged 7.4 yards a carry coming in, 200 yards even coming into the game. Got a few carries as of late. This time they're going to give it to Lumpkin. Lumpkin comes this way. Lumpkin into the secondary, finally run down from behind by Sam Smith, who makes what appears to be a touchdown-saving tackle down near the 18-yard line.
Yeah, and now, Brian, they're getting going what they want. They're running that sweep a little bit on them, and they're getting some good blocking up front. And that's a nice job by number 56, Brent Farmer, for Seminole up the field, making a block. Leaks to your lineman downfield, making things happen.
Split the back, split the Lumpkin, short side sweep, and he is knocked down, but not until he gets good yardage again. Coming up from the secondary, Ivan Jackson, the senior defensive back from Pinellas Park, been very active from the secondary, number 4.
And he's doing a nice job, but the bottom line is you don't want Ivan Jackson to make that many tackles in a game. When your secondary is leading the team in tackles, it's a long night. You're going to have to get some help up front here.
Second down and about 5.
This is where Pinellas Park stiffened up in the past.
The ball to Gully, right side. He's just alternating sides on that off tackle play, basically a straight handoff on the wing T. That time not as successful. It's going to be third down.
You're right, and I think I said sweep earlier. It's not quite a sweep. You're exactly right. They're pulling both their guards. No, they look like they're just pulling their backside guard, and they're just bringing that up inside. It's the lead play. Big play, third down here.
3rd and 5. The ball at the 13. Need to get it down near the 8.
Well, if you're Pinellas Park, you want to try to make them go for a field goal again.
7-0 Seminole. Fabricio the lone back. We have a double wing. DeQuell Jackson is your quarterback. Going to send a man in motion. Going to be play action. Jackson firing out the flat. Danielle Williams wide open. Takes it in for the touchdown. Well-designed play on 3rd and 5. 13-yard touchdown pass from DeQuell Jackson to Danielle Williams. 6 more to the tally, and the Warhawks now lead it by the score of 13-0.
Yeah, that is a well-designed play, and DeQuell Jackson does a nice job running it. Rolls out and just hits the flats. One of the best plays you'll find in high school football is throwing them the flats to the running back, because they can make things happen, and generally linebackers can't cover them.
Brandon Maudon's attempt the extra point. Kick is blocked. Picked up is Layfield, the quarterback, going to try to fire it into the end zone. Nobody out there. TJ Layfield did what he could, but remains 13-0. 6:53 left here in the third quarter. Seminole strikes first in the second half. They lead at 13-0. You are watching the high school football game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7. Todd Wilson back with you at Seminole. Danielle Williams has scored both Seminole touchdowns, the last on a 13-yard reception from DeQuell Jackson. Kick comes up short again to Solomon Johnson. This time he's going to just try to turn it up and get some yardage out across the 30 with some nice moves. Makes a nice return to Solomon Johnson, the senior.
Yeah, Solomon's either going to have to go back deeper or let 21 Kevin Smith field that, because you don't want your up guy going back to catch the football. Although he makes a decent return on that, he cut it back up to the right, like you said.
Caught it right. It was probably going to go out of bounds. Should put him at the 35, but he wants to make the play. 74 yards in 11 plays, 4:59 off the clock. Williams from a 13-yard reception from DeQuell Jackson. The extra point is blocked, and the Warhawks lead it by the score of 13-0.
And the play action by DeQuell made that play, because you stuck the linebacker in, and now you got to back right up.
Nice touch pass from a linebacker.
Sure, pitch and catch.
They go in, and he's going to be swarmed under. Tried to run some kind of a counter pass action or play action, and just a little communication problem, and he just goes down in a hurry.
And that's the second time tonight we've seen that happen. And again, I saw it the other day at practice. Whether the quarterback's coming out too wide or more likely the fullback's not going wide enough, you have got to go to the proper holes.
Brandon Bedard looked like they were trying to set some kind of a counter action or misdirection to Billy Henderson.
And Seminole's too good defensively to give him things. You have to make that play.
2nd and 13, back to the 27-yard line. Beagle remains in a quarterback. We saw Bowman move the team early. The sophomore, probably the better of the two passers, going to get an opportunity here. Fires it down, and it's going to be out of bounds in the direction of Solomon Johnson. Good coverage by T.J. Layfield.
Yeah, I'd like to see Pinellas Park, and the roll or the half roll is not a bad idea, but throw to the middle of the field a little bit more, because again, you're throwing into that cover two, and you're throwing right where they want you to throw the football.
Well, and the young guys had it just the way he's been throwing. He's been putting it up in the air for grabs. Against the speed, as we talked about, you've got to put it out there more on the line to give your receivers a chance to make a play.
Exactly, and you tell your safeties that they have half the field, but when the quarterback rolls, they're going to begin to roll with him, so they're going to come over and they're already in better position to make a play.
One guy who could, a little bit about the quarterbacks, the guy Markwell Blackwell now over at USF, he threw the ball up deep. He put it up in beautiful long throw, but he could drill the ball when he had to. He knew when to lob it up and let his speedy receivers like a Reuben run underneath it or one of those guys, or he could fire it across the middle for the 15, 20-yard gain. He's having a good career over at USF, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a smart kid. He does a nice job. You're not going to believe it, Brian, but when he got over with us, he could barely walk. So I taught him a good bit.
They take credit for all that, are you?
I'll never forget Coach Morey and myself. First day he walked in the practice field, we just said, "Oh my Lord, his kid's a player." And
you're gonna leave this kid alone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't, because Spurrier says you didn't want to coach him up too much, right?
Don't let anybody fool you. Good players make good coaches, and that's just the reality of the situation. So he is doing well. I'm really happy to see those kids over there. Glenn Davis has had a heck of a carear, and D'Andrew Rubin has done a nice job. And
it's been a nice Dixie Hollands connection over at USF for Coach Levitt, of course, who played at Dixie Hollands years ago.
Yeah, Coach Levitt, might want to take me to dinner or something. We gave him some nice kids, but yeah, they're doing a nice job with them over there.
3rd and long, straight back under pressure, trying to set up the screen out to Henderson, but he just couldn't get it to him. Had a blocker out in front of him, but just too much pressure coming from Hunter and number 66, Ryan Dickenbraw.
Yeah, and on the screen, you're going to get pressure. You want your lineman to hold the block a little longer than this, but he's got to be aware that's coming if they go. And again, he's young, and I'll be very honest, on film, I was real impressed with him. He's going to get better, but he's got to lay that in there to Henderson, let him do something with the ball.
He's not the kind of a kid at 6'1", 205, and only a sophomore who you want running around trying to make plays. He needs time to step up and throw, and he hasn't really had that this season.
No, he certainly hasn't. And again, I'm not trying to be critical of the kid because I think he's got a good future. He looked very nice on film throwing the ball, and you're right, he hasn't had the time, and when you don't have it, none of them throw the ball real well.
Cody Gelwick, high end-over-end punt, kicking it away from Williams again. It's going to land out of bounds. Let's see where they spot it. Spotted right at the 49-yard line in Pinellas Park territory. So giving up maybe a little bit of yardage on the distance, but just keeping it away from that man right there, because we have seen what he can do when he gets his hands on the football.
Sure, but again, now if you're Pinellas Park, you're playing on your side of the football field, and even if someone doesn't score, you got a long field to drive again on. So you've got to get a break here. You have to have some type of mistake come up.
Jackson remains in a quarterback. Split the backs in the wing tee. Straight up the middle. Going to give it to this man through Eric Hunter. Nice tackle in the secondary to stand him straight up and drive him backwards.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Solomon Johnson, he's been looked at by Citadel and the University of Virginia. I know he's played a nice football game tonight for the most part. James Adams puts both his tackles in what we call the A gap, the guard center gap on both sides, so he shouldn't be able to run right there, but they did on that play.
6'3", 180, Johnson with good size, pretty good speed, and he shows a pretty tough kid for tall, sort of lanky kid, still probably going to put a lot more meat on those bones as he gets older, gets in the weight room.
Yeah, he's a smooth-looking kid. He's a good athlete.
2nd down. I'll call it a short 4, and there had been some defensive encroachment there. Pinellas Park was coming on a run blitz and may have gotten that neutral zone a little bit early.
Yeah, it's either they were drawn or they jumped.
Legal procedure, so that's why they got in the neutral zone early.
Yeah, they jumped. Generally, if you're going to see that official, the back judge throw it, it's going to be something up front on offense. Side judge is going to nail the defense encroachment.
2nd down and a long 9 now after the penalty.
Boy, Pinellas Park could use a turnover in a big way here.
Wing right. Going to give the ball to Gully. Gully off tackle. Gully into the secondary down the far sideline. Gully going to be inside the 20. Finally run down from behind. a big gain for DeQuez Gully. That's Billy Henderson with the touchdown-saving tackle.
Yeah, and they're just not getting scrapes out of the linebackers. You can see right here. I thought actually the defensive end for Pinellas Park did a pretty good job pushing the play back inside, but they don't get any scrape out of their linebacker, and that's where the play goes. I know Coach Ed Havey is working with those linebackers, and he coached me for a while. He's an excellent coach, one of the best I've ever worked with, and he does a nice job generally with those kids.
Here comes Lumpkin, same play other side. Lumpkin inside the 10. Touchdown, Justin Lumpkin. 17-yard run off the left side by Justin Lumpkin, and Seminole now has the offensive machine in full gear as they take it 19-0, the 19-point lead.
Yeah, and Pinellas Park's getting tired. It's pretty obvious. They're playing up high right now, and Seminole's starting to wear them down. And again, you know, if you were going to get on Seminole tonight, it had to be early because homecoming, all that stuff going on, there's a lot on their mind, and you had to get on them. But Seminole's taking it to them up front right now.
Brandon Mott wants to attempt the extra point. The kick is up. This time they get it away, and it is good. 4:14 remaining third quarter. It's been all Warhawks. They lead it now by the score of 20-0. You are watching the high school football game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7. There's a young fan here on homecoming, maybe a future homecoming queen here at Seminole High, enjoying this beautiful evening for high school football. And that man right there, Justin Lumpkin, enjoying it. He's done a great job running the football and playing in the secondary. Good-looking football player, and a lot of good-looking football players here on Sam Roper's team this year.
They sure are. A lot of seniors.
Henderson with an opportunity. He's going to just take it straight up the middle, looking for a seam. And nothing there. Hit off, bounces off of one tackle. Going to try to turn it up the sideline. Gets a block. Still on his feet. Billy Henderson, look out! Billy Henderson finally run down from behind. What an effort by Billy Henderson. You can see why he's the county's leading rusher. He has just not had a chance today, Todd, to operate in space. That time he did. He took his time and set up some great blocks.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Billy did everything you coach a kid not to do, and then you go, hey, great job, Billy. Because he's bouncing around here, he's running backwards, but he finds the seam, and, you know, it's like Juice Williams used to say, Coach, don't tell me how to run, just tell me where to run. Billy does a little bit of that. He gets upfield, some nice moves. Park has got to get on the board here if they're going to have any chance in this game.
Well, Bowman comes back in the quarterback. Randy Bowman, the transfer. Billy Henderson with an opportunity to show what he could do here on the game of the week. Will be the lone back, trips to the wide side. Wing back is Sam Smith. Bowman with a quick pop over here. Turning it up for a few yards to 17, David Newton.
Yeah, Newton was sixth in the state last year in catches. He was at Largo High School, and he was sixth in the entire state, so he just became eligible. He can be a good asset to this team.
Trying to get him the ball. He picks up about 4 yards on that quick little blanker hitch, or screen, whatever you want to call it.
Well, and one of the things you find, Brian, when you're playing a good defense like Seminole, you absolutely have to be able to throw the ball, because if not, they're going to stack you up, and it's going to be very hard to run on them. You can see Billy Henderson has been shut down a good bit tonight.
Henderson along back again, trips to the wide side. Going to roll it that way, under pressure Bowman. Going to step up and fire it, overthrowing the big guy Solomon Johnson as he had some pressure. Fabrizio was in there, and he had some help. Gully was also there.
Yeah, it looked like the two receivers at the form of their boot pass, and the two receivers got a little bit too close to one another.
Pretty good coverage out there by Marvin Elliott.
Well, what I'd like to see the Park quarterbacks do, I know they've been under pressure and so forth, but to set their feet a little bit more. Set them and throw. And again, it's a lot easier said than done, but they are going to get hit at times, and you've got to set to make an accurate throw.
third down and a long 6. Trips to the short side, little counter action. Sam Smith is going to have a first down. Well-designed play, well executed. That's what they need to do. They faked the toss to Henderson and brought Sam Smith back against the green on the counter and picked up the first down.
Yeah, and again, that's the person other than Henderson making a play. They pull up inside. Number 73 for Pinellas Park, Ray Diaz. There's a real nice block coming down the line.
Smith, 1 touchdown rushing coming in. Rushed for 65 yards coming into the game in 4 games. Doesn't get the carry very often, only had 11 carries coming in.
Yeah, well, here's where Park has got to score something.
46 remaining. They're trailing at 20-0. Here's the draw to Henderson. He's going to try to bounce it to the outside. Got a running seam. And on the cut, he fell down, but not until he picked up about 15 yards down to the 20 of the Warhawks. And again, you can see why he's the leading rusher in the county. When he has a little bit of space, he knows what to do with the football.
Well, yeah, Brian, and if you watch Billy Henderson here, it's not so much that he's fast, he's quick. Look at his feet when he gets out of that hole. Lost his footing there a little bit at the end, but he's real quick. Those good backs have shifty feet.
Trying to make a move on Danielle Williams. Come up from the safety position to keep him from taking it into the end zone. First and 10 from the 20. Trips this way. Henderson alone back behind Randy Bowman.
Here's where Park has to make something happen.
Henderson up the middle. Cannot quite break out of the stack. Good job by the interior that time of the Warhawks defense.
Yeah, and they're, Brian, they're tipping that play a little bit because when they're bringing motion and they're running a form of a sweep, they're not bringing the motion quite to the quarterback. But in this play, if you notice, you can't see it in that screen, the wingback has come all the way by the quarterback, so they're looking to run the fullback.
2nd and 9.
This is where Park struggled earlier tonight. They're really going to get in the end zone.
Smith, the wingback. Bowman straight back, going to fire it out this way to Newton. Newton can't find a handle, batted around, finally on the ground.
Yeah, Newton's got to make that catch. He absolutely has to make that catch right there.
Kind of hit him out here on that skinny post or slant, whatever you want to call it. And he says his first game back, maybe a little bit rusty, but not quite haul it in.
He threw the ball, now put the ball right in there. Yeah, throws it in as good a place as you can throw it.
Got to get into his body though, instead of catching it out in the
seconds. Absolutely. Absolutely, like we saw earlier in the game one time.
Bounces off the body. You got to catch that ball out in front of you on your hands and then pull it in.
Yeah, because your shoulder pads are bouncy. Big third down here.
3rd and 9.
They worked a lot in practice this week on getting tailback out into the flats. We'll see if they do it.
Motion, going to take it up the middle and a little counter action. Won't get there. Gets it down inside the 15. It's going to be 4th down and about 4. And trailing 20-0 with 1:21 left in the 3rd quarter. James Adams pretty much has to go for it here.
Oh, there's no doubt. And, you know, this is, you hate to say it's a ball game. A lot of funny things happen, but it's getting close at this point.
Bowman gets the play. And now they're going to call a timeout. Actually, Seminole will call the timeout to make sure they're set defensively. They take a lot of pride. They want a shutout here.
And that's a good timeout by Seminole. You're up 20-0. You don't want anything to go wrong. You got to feel like as a coach, if we stop them here, we're in real good shape. On the other hand, Park, and they worked getting Billy Henderson the ball out into the flats a lot this week.
Seminole coming in has 2 shutouts. They shut out Palm Harbor 19-0, Northeast 46-0, which is a shocker.
Yeah.
They're not as bad as you said last week. You saw them. Osceola only scored 9. Osceola's got a great running back in T. Clearwater, a team that's bouncing back, scored 12 on them. And last week Gibbs with an explosive offense put up 26, but they scored 36.
Yeah, and I've watching Gibbs play. Gibbs can move the ball just about anybody, and they did a nice job. But again, Seminole came out on top, and they've got a shot to run the table, which is very difficult to do at any level.
Yes, they do. They'll be tested next week, I think, up at Countryside.
Yeah, and they've got Largo.
Better team this year. Largo with a pretty good team.
And Largo Seminole has been a great rivalry in the past, and you'd like to see it get back to that.
It would be good. Largo Seminole and Largo Clearwater getting those rivalries back.
Well, especially because you have a lot of kids for Seminole out of the Largo area, so they know one another very well.
4th and 4. Empty set now as they send Henderson in motion. Bowman's going to roll it this way. Has the corner turn, and he's going to turn it up and get a first and goal inside the 10.
Boy, did they get a break there.
Heavy rush coming off the corner. It looked like somebody may have gotten pulled down on a block, but there was no call. I think it was Hunter coming hard off the corner, and he might have been pulled down.
It looked to me like Nathan Biddle got a good chunk of his neck. You can see him rolling there, and again, it looked like it on that angle that he got a good shot at him.
But that was a well-designed and, again, well-executed play. They took a running quarterback.
Did he get a break?
Yep.
and I apologize, that wasn't Biddle. That was Ricky Bernard, the fullback. But he gets a takedown, 2 points, and Pinellas Park's in business.
You know, Pinellas Park's always been known for their good wrestling teams.
Yeah, he'll be recruited if he wasn't already to come out of that wrestling team, because that was a nice takedown.
He's going to come off the field right now. He's the leading tackler defensively. Linebacker position. First and goal from about the 7. Bowman's going to keep it off the right side, then to get down to the 5, and looked like that was the design play. I'm not sure. Was that a broken play, do you think, Tom?
No, unless there was a fumble snap, it looked like the play.
He just kept it and had a little option where he wanted to run it. Yeah, he just took it.
He may have been told by Coach Adams, if it's there, go, but that's a tough way to get a touchdown down there.
Against this team. Inside of a minute remaining, as you see here in the third quarter, Seminole leading at 20-0. The Pinellas Park Patriots trying to get on the scoreboard to stay in this contest. Play coming in from the sideline.
Yeah, this is a must right here.
Second down and goal. Henderson the lone back. Smith the wing back. Now empty set as Henderson goes in motion. Bowman rolling it that way. Looking for the throw back. Throws it up in the back of the end zone. And they're going to throw a late flag for pass interference. And it looked like guys going for the football. Everybody's allowed their space back there. Let's see what the call is. If that is a pass interference, it'll be a first and goal.
Absolutely. Let's see if we see it on replay here.
So it's called. Let's take another look if we have it. This is the end zone look from the truck.
Same play they ran before to the other side, and he throws the ball this time rather than keep it. Well, I don't know about that. They're fighting for the football. That's one call.
The defensive man was in front of him, and he just went straight up to get the ball. I don't know.
Well, and that's a call that, look, the referees work hard and they do a nice job, and I certainly don't want to say that they don't, but I wish they'd let go a little bit more than they do. Kids are fighting for the ball. Let them play football.
First down and goal from about the 3. Bowman on the naked boot. Now he's going to throw it away. No receiver over there. Is that going to be an intentional grounding? Yes, it is. So if he would have had a receiver, but it was a naked boot and there was nobody over there, Todd, so you really can't argue with that call. And that's unfortunate for Pinellas Park, but that's great defense for Seminole. That's the final play of the third quarter. With the score, Seminole 20, Pinellas Park nothing. We'll take a break and be back with fourth quarter action. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7.
He came over from Gibbs. He's their second string quarterback. QB Beavers.
Brian Oxtide, Wilson back with you here, and that was a penalty, so that we're going to have a one untimed play. We're still in the third quarter, no time on the clock. It's going to be a second down. It should be a loss of down, I believe. Isn't pass interference loss of down?
Absolutely.
The marker still says first down, but it's second down and goal from out about the 22-yard line. Disastrous penalty for Pinellas Park. Bowman, the quarterback.
Both teams have had that call.
Sends Henderson in motion, straight back. Looking, as a receiver out there. Johnson's got a step, and does he make the grab? He had it, but they're going to say he did not have it long enough. It was broken up by Danielle Williams, and that was the final play of the third quarter. Danielle Williams again with a big play to keep Pinellas Park out of the end zone. Take one look at it as we go to a break for the fourth quarter.
Has a shot, has his man beat by a step.
Never had it.
No, doesn't have it there. More interference in the other one.
We'll take another look at the last play of the third quarter with no time on the clock after the interference call. Or after, excuse me, the intentional grounding call.
Yeah, it's not a bad throw by Bowman. You wish you could lead him a little more, but you're asking an awful lot there. Catchable, but a tough catch.
So it's going to be 3rd and goal from the 22 after the intentional grounding call on Bowman on the second to the last play of the third quarter. 20-0, Seminole leads it over Pinellas Park.
Well, for Pinellas Park to be in this game, they were going to have to take advantage of their opportunities, and they struggled a little bit down here.
Straight back Bowman in the slot, has Smith, makes a nice move, going to turn it up, and he's going to be down near the 6. So they've got a shot now on 4th and goal. They'll spot it at the 7.
Absolutely, you got back part of it. I thought initially they were going to swing the ball out to Henderson. They ran him in motion. You see Siegel looks up and hits Smith coming across. Nice throw, nice catch.
That's what you've been saying. You've got to hit them across the middle on the quick hitters and give your athletes a chance to make a play. Pinellas Park now will burn a timeout, and unofficially, I believe this may be their last timeout in the contest.
And that hurts you. And you know, Seminole now is going to probably go into a cover 1. I didn't notice if they were in at that time, but that's generally what teams play down in the goal line, is some form of cover 1. And again, you can beat teams inside on that, but it's man-to-man, so you can beat them outside on it too. It's just a single matchup on people. It's me against you. I might look to throw it out to number 10, Billy Henderson, in the flat spot, Pinellas Park.
Well, run the wide receiver across the field to take the man coverage, and then just try to isolate him out there with somebody?
Sure, absolutely. You know, you want to put your best athlete with the ball. You want to give your kid a shot. You know, interception, touchdown, whatever it may be, you got to give your kid a shot.
Henderson's had few opportunities this evening, but when he has had them, one on a kickoff return and one on a run around the left side, he has shown what he can do with it.
Oh, yeah, he's a good athlete. He's going to play college football somewhere.
4th and goal from the 7. Henderson, the lone back, trips to the left side.
And they may do just what you said. They may motion him.
He will go in motion on the empty set. Bowman this way, gets a block. It's going to decide to run. It's got to get it into the end zone. Will not get there.
And they got a face mask.
Face mask is going to be called. Unfortunately, Bobby Fox was there, made a nice play, and maybe just got a piece of the face mask, and that will be a 1st and goal.
Sure, and Pinellas Park's sitting there at 1st and about 22, and now they got 1st and goal. Yeah, he
definitely got it.
That time.
Unfortunately, Fox was there. He stayed home, made a nice read, but reached out there, and instead of getting some jersey, he got the face mask. It was inadvertent, but it's a call you have to make.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, Randy Bowman hasn't played before tonight, and he's done some good things out there. And I know he's a little bit rusty. One of the things that's unfortunate, to be honest, a lot of times he's throwing off his back foot as his Spiegel and so forth, is, you know, you're very limited in coaching down there. So you're looking at a situation where he's probably not getting the individual time you'd like to give him, but you can't do it because you don't have the coaches on staff. So, you know, that people ask why Pinellas County football struggles sometimes in the playoffs. You just don't have the things that other teams have. Here's comes another penalty.
The depth and the coaching staff, and all those types of things.
You know, and to ever compete at a state level continuously, you're going to have that, because if you look at your good teams in the state, and they have tons of coaches out there helping them out, and knowledgeable coaches helping them out.
Well, guys who can work with the backs and the quarterbacks and isolate on the line and the receivers and the defensive front and the linebackers. They break up into units. And
you want your quarterback working with one coach every day, and unfortunately you just can't do that. You generally have to take the backs and quarterbacks and sometimes even the receivers together. And you'd like to be able to work with that quarterback one-on-one.
4th and goal from the 7. Bowman on the option. Henderson, nothing there. He's going to turn around and bring it back this way. And makes a great effort, but will not get, well, maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage and picks up about a yard, but that's a heck of an effort and nowhere to go. And that was a 4th down play.
They've been a little bit snake bit all night.
That was the 4th down play, so the face mask obviously was not a 1st and goal.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was not an automatic 1st down. I stand corrected. Well, they gave it an effort. They got it to their best back, but Seminole was up to the challenge. Just played outstanding defense like they have done the entire game.
Yeah, it's a nice open field tackle by Marvin Elliott. Fabrizio made a nice play on it too. And I know coaches get into this thing about running the score up and so forth, but if Seminole's going to go on to the playoffs, one thing about playoff football, Brian, is you have to be able to throw the football. There aren't weak teams when you get there, especially if you get to the second and third round. And if all you can do is run, you're going to struggle. So if I'm Sam Roper here, I'm going to work my passing game. And, you never want to rub it into other kids, but at the same time, you have to be preparing for later on down the road.
He's going to have to, you've run into some of those buzzsaws from other parts of the state, and you get there, you just can't be one-dimensional unless you run the best option offense in the country. You just can't be one-dimensional in Florida high school football when you move down the line in the state playoffs.
Too many good athletes, and
here comes a great athlete right there, and the secondary is Eric Hunter. Billy Henderson will run him down with a touchdown-saving tackle, but not until he is in to Pinellas Park territory down to the 42. Big game.
Well, Pinellas Park did a good job for a long time stopping that run. They did a couple exceptions, and they tired out here. They're getting high. Seminole's doing a real nice job up front. You can see a great block by number 63, Anthony Lorenzetti. I apologize, Miss Lorenzetti, if I mispronounced that, but it's a nice kick-out block, and Hunter's probably saved 2 touchdowns himself now. Or Henderson, I'm sorry.
Henderson's played a great both sides of the ball, just has had no room to run.
No, he's got to be fatigued.
Hunter will get a break. A lot of weapons in the Seminole offense. Quarterback sneak, here's one right here. DeQuell Jackson's playing middle linebacker and still has the energy in the fourth quarter to make a move like that. Quarterback sneak.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned earlier, Coach Adams likes to play both his tackles in the guard center gap. He does what we call the A gap. And, although he had his left one in there. I couldn't see his right one from that angle. But your quarterback sneak in there, the kids are tired. But we mentioned a few minutes ago, and you had mentioned Marquell Blackwell, and I never kidded myself. Marquell was a great reason we had success because he could throw the football. He knew how to run a team and throw the ball. And if you can't do that in the playoffs, you don't tend to go very far.
But you had good running backs too. You just couldn't ride his arm. You had to do both.
Yeah, exactly. You mixed it up.
Second down and 3. Ball to Fabrizio as Jackson's tackled when he hands it off to Fabrizio with a nice run. He's a good-looking sophomore, as we talked about, on both sides of the football. Doesn't get to carry it very often. When he does, he's very effective.
Yeah, I like him. He's a good-looking kid.
He actually had 42 carries coming in, so he was one of their leading ball carriers. He just hasn't carried it much this evening. He averages 6.1 yards a carry coming in, and he had 256 yards coming in rushing.
Yeah, what's funny is when a coach's kid comes out there, a lot of times people say, he's a coach's kid, he's playing, but it's been my experience that most coaches' kids can play. They grow up around the game, they know the game, and he obviously can
coach
play.
Has him out there, and he can't. He's going to hear a lot of it.
Yeah. And he may hear it now, but I'll tell you what, that kid can play.
He's a player, no question. Nobody can question he deserves to be on the field, touching it a lot. He gets another touch right there, straight up the middle. Makes a great spin move inside of the 15, spotting down near the 12. Another first down. You can see why he's averaging over 6 yards a carry from the fullback position. He has 4 touchdowns rushing coming in.
He's making us look good. Nice trap block there. I believe it was number 71 for Seminole, Dallas Souls. Soles or Souls, I apologize.
Good forward lean.
Yeah, he does.
A forward lean from that fullback is what you need. Now he's in the open, gets up a little bit more, but still keeps the shoulders and the body moving forward. It doesn't give you a good target.
And that's the impressive thing about the Seminole backs. They're doing a nice job working with those kids because they are running low and hard. Here's your shoulder pads down.
First and 10, they'll spot it at the 13. And it's been flag day here as of late. A lot of dead ball infractions.
Well, and you come out, you're Pinellas Park, and you play a very good defensive first half. You're playing a high-powered offense, and the score could end up 27-34, whatever it may be, and it looks worse than it is. They just got worn down tonight. If their offensive line grows and gets stronger, they're going to be in it next year.
A lot of guys going both ways.
Sure.
Seminole has too, but they have such a plethora of athletes that they can move them in and out, offensively and defensively. They don't get tired as quickly.
He didn't get in.
Jackson on the sneak. He's down to about the story.
And you make a great point about that, Brian. A lot of people think, well, if the kid starts both ways, he plays both ways. But if you take, just for example, and you can see it on the run here, it's a good-looking run by DeQuell Jackson. DeQuell Jackson doesn't go the whole way offensively, and there's a lot of difference between playing a series and then sitting out a series than playing the whole way through.
Especially when you go both ways, you get that break and you keep your legs fresh when you need it, and
and you get other kids involved, and that's what keeps kids around. You know, they want to be a part of something.
Seminole just needs a couple more Billy Hendersons, Sam Smiths, and Solomon Johnsons, and they'll be right back in this thing in a couple years. First and goal. This is number 2, Marvin Elliott. Elliott into the end zone for the touchdown. 3-yard touchdown run for Marvin Elliott. 7:28 left in the contest. 26-0. The Warhawks out in front.
Yeah, that's a play you see Penn State run sometimes. They bring that flanker in motion and they hand the ball off to him. He comes inside. Actually, that's a pretty good effort by Solomon Johnson. He just didn't hold him outside and he didn't get any help.
Marvin. Brandon Mott on to attempt the extra point. The holder is Bobby Norvell. Can't handle it. Norvell's going to try to make something happen, and he will be thrown to the ground by Jimmy Tanner.
And that's one thing that I will promise you is concerning Coach Roper, because, again, the further you go into it, that's going to come back and bite you.
Those 2 extra points that they have not handled cleanly this evening. 26-0, however, it's all Warhawks. We'll take another break. You are watching the high school football game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7. Justin Lumpkin with the touchdown rushing. That's his second touchdown rushing this year.
And they got a big game next week. Seminole, they go play Countryside. And Countryside probably matches up pretty well. They're big up front, as always, and they got a chance.
I don't think the Countryside's the type of team that you're going to just beat by running it down their throat unless you do wear them down with all these great athletes. Now, if they get one of these guys out in the open, Countryside's going to have a problem. But their front seven could hold them. Seminole, I think, is going to have to throw the ball a little bit in that game. This one goes out of bounds, and it'll be spotted at the 35. So good job there by David Newton to let that go out of bounds. So that's an interesting matchup. They've got to go up there. It's Countryside's homecoming.
Sure. If Seminole looks like they're going to get through this one, they'll be 6-0. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't care who you're playing, whatever it is. It's very, very hard to go 10-0 in high school football season. You're just going to have that night. They still got Largo, which is going to be a great test for these guys.
It's a real good game. They've got it. Like you said, they've got a chance to do it. But they've got to come out and bring their A game every week, going down the stretch to get ready for the playoffs. They are going to be a playoff team. I don't think there's any question about that. Probably win this district, although Largo says they're going to have something to say about that. As you see the scoring drive, 6 plays, 83 yards, 3:09 off the clock, capped off by the 3-yard touchdown run by Justin Lumpkin.
Well, and the one thing that gives Largo a chance, and it's funny, I saw Coach Rodriguez last week, and like every other high school football coach, he was moaning about not having any athletes. Well, he's won 4 in a row, and they're playing good defense.
They're playing great defense.
Yeah, and
they're holding some pretty good teams to almost nothing offensively.
And that's how you win these things. You get a couple breaks.
Toss the ball to Billy Henderson. Going to try to get the corner turned. This time he gets it turned and turns it up for first down yardage. One of the first times he's really had a chance to cleanly turn the corner on the classic toss play.
Yeah, you're right. I bet he may go rack up some yards here at the end, but they've held him down very, very nicely.
Pulling guards out in front.
One of the problems Billy runs into is he outruns his guards. He's so fast.
Tackle over there on the far sideline. Ray Diaz and Darrell Hill out front there, and some of the other offensive linemen leading the charge. First and 10 from their own 47 for the Patriots. 7 minutes and counting remaining in this one. Firing out here. Intercepted. Throw right into Eric Hunter. Eric Hunter went up high and came down with it. It's a great athletic play right there.
Absolutely. And you got to feel a little bit for Beagle. The kid does throw a nice ball. He hasn't thrown it overly well tonight, but throws a nice ball, drops back here. You can see doesn't look anything off and puts it right in his chest. And again, that comes back, Ryan, at the harp on the point, but when you don't get a lot of coaching, and that's not a knock on Jim Adams. I've been there, and I know what it's like. You just don't have enough
time to do
you
it all.
You want to get things done, but you got to work with 2 and 3 positions at once. And
be extremely organized, and I guess it's got to be frustrating.
Well, absolutely, because you don't get the time you want to get with your quarterback. You'd like to have him by yourself every day of the week.
Layfield going to give it on the counter crisscross. Daniel Williams still on his feet. And he's going to finally be spun down after a tough run for a couple of yards. So running the counter crisscross. And Pinellas Park batting them all over the place like a pinball that time.
Yeah, he bounced around pretty good for 2 yards.
Pretty good penetration. Delvon Stanley really disrupted that play from the get-go.
Yeah, and Pinellas Park's not going to quit. I know talking to Coach Adams, he thought he had a really, really good bunch of kids. Kids that worked hard, no attitude problems, no discipline problems. They're not going to quit.
Fabrizio, Williams, and Lumpkin. 3 backs. Williams lines up on the wing. Straight up the middle. Fabrizio, not much there. Picks up a couple, gets down to about 39 or 38. We'll spot it.
Yeah, and I'm happy for the injury here. We don't.
The mid-quarter water break, 5:53 left, 26-0 Seminole.
And, Brian, I'm really happy for the Seminole coaching staff. I know there's kids out there playing, and that's the ones you want to give credit to, but Coach Roper's, caught some flack in the past and so forth. To be very honest, he has not had the athletes here. He just hasn't. He's had the Melbourne Dukes once in a while, and those types of kids, but he just has not had the kids.
He's always had some good physical kids.
Yeah.
He's kind of had the same type of thing that, you see often in other areas. Countryside's a team that comes to mind. They've had some big-time players. Jeff Mitchell's in the NFL, and Clint Mitchell's started at Florida last week. I think it's
just don't have the speed overall.
But didn't have, exactly, tough big kids, but didn't have the full complement of athletes to have a well-rounded team. And this year and last year, he's had them, and he's done very well with them.
And what's amazing is this year he's probably came in with a real big question mark on offensive line, and they've improved, I know, a lot, but some of his offensive lines in the past have been very good. He just hasn't, again, he hasn't had the speed, and they've lost some close games because they just get out-athleted by people.
3rd down at 7. Layfield's going to give the ball to Lumpkin off the left side, and Pinellas Park staying home, and it'll be 4th down.
And I know, Coach Bishop's been there a long time, and Coach Fabrizio does a real nice job. He works very hard in the summer with the kids, and I worked one summer with Coach DeRuzzo, and he knows his football. He's extremely prepared for this game. He's also the girls softball coach, and Coach Perlin obviously does a great job with that defense. And on the other sideline, you're looking at Jim Adams, who's had some very good teams over there, and he's got a good staff. But again, it's a very small staff, and that becomes difficult.
Well, 4th down here in about 5. See what happens on the play here as T.J. Layfield, the quarterback. Send a man in motion, going to give him the football. Jared Johnston will not get there as he's gang tackled. So Pinellas Park on the nice defensive stand that time. As you said, the Patriots have not given up. They're playing with pride right now, playing for pride, and that's a nice stand. But getting back to what you talked about, you had a guy a couple years ago, Bobby Johns, a young coach, came over from a great program as an assistant. Thought he was going to be around. He left after a year because he got a chance to go back to a school that was struggling. But he said, I'm going to have 10 assistant coaches when I go there. I've got a commitment. I've got a budget. I've got a great booster program, and I got a chance to build a program with 10 assistant coaches.
Yeah, and any head coach who thinks his assistants aren't a big part of making him kidding himself, because they are. They're so vital. I was very fortunate when I was coaching to work with a Mike Morey, who's the head guy over at Dixie now, who did a great job, and Ned Havian and Edwin Bryan, and those guys, you never hear about them.
No, but the helmet cam's out, which means this one's probably over. Anytime the helmet cam comes out, it means that we're on the victorious sideline usually, and
that's like turning out the lights. The party's over.
I saw a lot of them at Dixie over the years.
Yeah.
1st and 10. Going to run the draw play. Billy Henderson with a little bit of room to run, trying to get away from Fabrizio. Will not let him get down the sideline. Nice tackle by Fabrizio and good effort again by Henderson.
And it's going to be a little misleading tomorrow in the paper too, because Henderson's going to get up in yardage at this time of the game. It's a little bit sloppy, and he's a good running back, but they've done a great job bottling him up tonight.
Yeah, but the effort he has put out, especially defensively, he saved a couple touchdowns on his own. He deserves his yardage right now because he hasn't quit.
No doubt.
The draw plays, you see it there. Second down and 2. Timeout going to be called by Fiegel. You saw there at the end where Fabrizio, he did the thing that I think is overlooked a lot, Todd, and especially when you're a defensive football player. He showed strong hands. He was a sophomore. He's pulling down a senior running back, and he just had him by the jersey, and he was able just to hold on, pull him down. And a lot of kids, some great players seem to have that.
He wrapped up. We used to talk about, don't go in and Ronnie Lott tackle anybody. Ronnie Lott used to go in and throw that shoulder, but he probably benched about 450 pounds. He could do that. But, you've got to wrap up in high school for, any level of football. You tackle and block comes first. You said it earlier tonight. If you don't tackle, you don't block, you don't win. And that's the key to it. You can have every bit of knowledge in the world and all that stuff. Basically, there's a lot of good different schemes, but it just depends on how well you execute that scheme. I get a kick out of people on the radio talking about the Bucks and, whether they've done conservative or not. I don't know. You're closer to that than I am. But the first few weeks, things worked, and there's been a couple plays where if they hit them, they may be up at 24, 31 points. And so a lot of it's execution.
Exactly. I mean, you got Warwick Dunn with a step on LeVar Arrington last week, the rookie, and the ball just wasn't delivered. And you make a couple of those plays, and nobody's talking about anything but a great team with a great record.
Well, you're a great coach when you execute, and you're a lousy coach when they don't. It's about as simple as it gets.
That's a well-delivered ball that time by Gary Fiegel. He got it out to David Newton, hooked up on a little sort of hook or curl pattern, and fired it in there nicely.
I think Fiegel's coach has to be a good one. I'd like to see him get a little bit more on the ball. He floats it a little bit, but again, he's only a sophomore. He'll get better. One of the things, Brian, that Pinellas Park absolutely has got to do is get in that weight room. I know they're not real strong up front, and they're young, but they've got to get stronger.
All the good programs have those year-round weight training regiments they go through. On the deflection, intercepted by Marvin Elliott. Marvin Elliott, look out, up the middle, and finally brought down. Number 50 just runs him down. Nathan Battelle, the sophomore offensive and defensive lineman. But Elliott, opportunistic pick as it went off the receiver's hands, and he was back there in good shape. Catch the ricochet.
Yeah, and that ball was a little bit behind him, but definitely should have been caught by Sam Smith. Elliott makes a nice heady play, though, and then does something very smart, covers the football up.
Marvin's had a solid game. He's had a lot of the quote-unquote skill position players for Sam Roper's Seminole Warhawks. Young fan, maybe a future Warhawk, enjoying the evening.
Absolutely. Good-looking kid, big eyes, big brown eyes. I shouldn't say big eyes.
Danielle Williams spun down. Sam Smith, one of the first men in there. And as you mentioned, Pinellas Park still playing hard defensively.
Yeah, and I don't think James Adams would really allow anything else. He's going to keep these kids working. This is the hard week, though, Brian, for James Adams coming up, because now you're in all probability out of the district race. You know you are, and now how do you react? You get your kids.
Oh, you got a young team, with the exception of a couple kids like Henderson and Solomon and Johnson who want to keep playing, though. They want to keep playing because they want to play for pride their last year and maybe for a scholarship. And the young kids just get better,
Yeah, and this is almost the point where, you got to keep working hard, but it's not a bad time to take your kids on a Monday and have a fun day with them. I know there's some coaches that don't like that type of thing, but nice play.
Nice play there by Delvin Stanley, junior linebacker. Delvin had 28 tackles coming in. He's been pretty active this evening.
I always felt like, there were times that, when things are going well, you keep working hard and you keep pounding on to get better, but there's times like this that, you go out Monday and you take half the day and you play touch football with them, or, you let the linemen play against each other because then they think they're backs, and you have to keep them interested that way. And it's not just in high school level. That goes on at college. You hear about pro teams going bowling. and so forth. We just had a stand go down up front here. The bandstand went down, but I think everybody's okay.
And one of the golf carts actually clipped the little band trailer with some of the instruments.
Exactly. But, you know, these kids feel badly about this.
Gonna run the counter play to Justin Lumpkin. Lumpkin in the secondary, and Lumpkin's going to take it the distance for the touchdown. 44-yard touchdown run, or make it out about a 46-yard touchdown run.
That's nice blocking up front. I don't know who's looking at Lumpkin, and I'm not sure about his grade situation, but as far as academically, he's a senior, but he's a good-looking football player. He's got that burst on him. He's going to make somebody a good college player if that's the decision he goes.
Another look. This is the counter. It's a classic wing T counter.
Yeah, and everybody blocks down, and then they pull. Out of all the backs, and they have some good-looking ones, that kid impresses me the most.
Not the biggest, 5'8", 170, but he gets upfield.
And you know,
Mott's extra point. This time, snap handled cleanly by Norvell. Kick is up, and it is through. 33-0. 129 left in this one.
And you know, Danielle Williams does a really good job running the football. But I look at a kid like Lumpkin. He's a little more north and south, and that's the type of runner we're going to look at in college, maybe a little bit more at that position.
Well, he's done a good job on really both sides of the football when he's been in a corner position.
And he puts the ball down like he's been there before and gets back to the sideline. I like to see that.
That's the classic. Don't rip off your helmet. Because in high school football, you can't do that, or that's a penalty.
Yeah. He didn't go stand on the start midfield either. The Warhawk out there.
Yeah, but, you know, you've seen a little bit too much of that stuff lately in some levels, I think.
Absolutely. And what's amazing to me is what happens when a guy makes a 5-yard catch, and, you know, or even if you score there, I mean, that's a nice run, but that's good blocking up front. And, you know, you got to be a team player on this stuff.
Lumpkin with a solid game tonight, a couple of touchdowns rushing. He's now rushed for 3 touchdowns on the year. First one was 17 yards. That one we'll call it a 46-yarder.
And that was good down blocking, and again a counter coming back up. Nice pull.
Abramson, short kick, 22 on the receiving end. Matt Brazel. And he takes it out. Nice return to about 34.
Yeah, Matt definitely wants to get his hands on the ball. He needs to let Billy Henderson field that and run with it a little bit. But he wants to get his hands on the ball, and that's understandable.
And he's a junior and playing primarily defensive back, although he is also a running back. He's not a chance to run it yet until that time tonight, that touch.
And if Coach Adams gets these kids in the weight room, they get stronger, they're going to be a year older, they're all young on the offensive line. They're going to be a better football team next year, there's no doubt.
Bowman in a quarterback. Henderson, the lone back, trips this way with Sam Smith on the wing. Bowman brings it this way, firing behind the receiver, trying to get it out to Solomon Johnson. Didn't really get those shoulders squared that time.
Well, that's been the problem all night is Bowman has a pretty good arm, actually, a pretty strong arm, but, you know, hasn't played in a while, but he's not squaring up and throwing the football the way he needs to. And, you know, again, in fairness to the kid, he's been out a lot, and he's worked hard to get back here, and, you know, Coach Adams had nothing but nice things to say about him, said he's a really great kid. And, you know, so you hope he progresses.
He's a senior. Saw the Seminole home crowd here on homecoming. They will go to their post-game festivities with a smile on their face after an impressive victory this evening. Inside of 1:10 left in the game, 33-0. It's been all Warhawks. It was close at the half. It was only 7-0, and it took a 39-yard touchdown run by Danielle Williams on 3rd and 9 to keep it from being a scoreless first half.
And you said about Seminole, they probably have their dance tomorrow night. And I'll tell you, I've been on the losing end of a couple of those nights, and they're not fun for the kids to go to at all. They have coaches screaming at them, and then they have to go into the dance because they all want to go. And it's just not fun. It's a lot more fun when you win and you know, give Seminole some compliments. They didn't start out very well, but they really focused in there after a while.
Well, they showed what a championship team is all about. They came back hard, and this is Brazel again getting his first carry from scrimmage. He's got some moves, a little bit of quicks.
I'll tell you what.
Nice run.
And that could have been a penalty on number 45, Perry Ron for Seminole. It looked like he shoved him out of bounds when he was out of bounds. But I'll tell you what, that's a nice looking run.
Junior, and you can see they've got a couple running backs, but with Henderson having such a great year, he just hasn't been able to carry the ball much.
Yeah, well, Coach Adams has got to be pleased with that. And you have to take some positives out of this. You just do. You can't look at all the negatives in it. You have to take some positives that came out of it. They did play well for a while with him. He's getting ready for the dance.
First and 10 from the 40, 21 seconds remaining.
Sure, Coach Adams would love to put one in. At the same time, Coach Roper would love to get that shutout.
Bowman underneath finds Solomon Johnson.
And that might be it right there. Yeah.
Clock remains running. Did not get out of bounds.
That's it. I don't think they're in it.
That'll be the final play of the contest. Seminole on homecoming with a 33-0 victory over Pinellas Park. We'll take a break and be back to wrap this one up. You're watching the high school football game of the week on Time Warner's Channel 7.